This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1303, Therapy with Uncle Sal.
Laser beams, opinions like the seasons on everything you read in comics, movies, games, toys, artists, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek, uniting the world's mightiest heroes. This is...
I'm Brian Chrisman.
I'm Jamie D.
I'm Shane Kelly.
And I'm Matt.
And welcome to the show. Yes, this is another Uncle Sal extravaganza. I like to think of us as his place to just vent all his just inner frustrations, his thoughts, his hopes, his dreams, because what a show we've got for you, boys and girls.
The doctor is in.
The doctor is in. But first, a word from our sponsor. This episode of Comic Geek Speak is brought to you by Discount Comic Book Service at dcbservice.com. When you pre-order your new comics from them, any DC, Marvel, Image, or Dark Horse books are right away 40% off cover price, with specials up to 50 and even 75% off cover price. And my, oh my, they love their bundles. The bundles they have this month, once again, another Marvel Now bundle. Buy all the Marvel Now branded titles together as a bundle. You get 50% off the cover price. Valiant Comics. Buy any of those 5 Valiant titles they have going on right now, and a bundle, half off. Speaking of half off, this month, all new DC trades and hardcovers, as well as new Marvel trades and hardcovers, are 50% off the cover price. They also have the Mars Attacks event going on this month at IDW, where Mars attacks Popeye, Kiss, real Ghostbusters, Transformers, or zombies and robots. It's crazy. Anywhere from 35 to 50% off cover price for those IDW issues. And if you happen to be a first-time customer of DCBS, use the coupon code CGS8 at checkout for an additional 8% off your order. DCBService.com. What else can we say? Here's Uncle Sal. So, Sal, is there anything on your mind?
Listen, man, be nice to me, you know? How long has it been since I talked to you guys?
Oh, here we go again. Well,
listen, it's your show, ultimately. I mean, you know... I'm not one of those jagouts that comes to the party uninvited and brings a couple of Puerto Ricans that drink all your beer. I believe in that bullshit.
Well, we had you on last at the end of June, and of course, you know, I've seen you at Comic-Con, saw you at New York Comic.
Yeah, but which June was it?
If you can't remember, good Lord.
I can't. Listen, I can't remember what I did this morning. What the fuck do I know? I'm at that point where, you know, anytime you guys have me on, I feel like that when they brought fucking Vinnie Barbarino back to Welcome Back, Kotter.
If only.
Yeah. Why the fuck did he go back to that show? It was always one thing I could never understand.
Money.
Say it's called
Saturday Night Fever, and he goes back to fucking Welcome Back, Kotter.
Paycheck.
I was going to say, they may have been paying him in drugs back then. That's
It might have been. I don't think that was on Travolta's mind at that point. So what are you guys up to, man?
Oh, just...
Enough about me. Let's talk about you. Jamie, how you doing? How's everything?
I'm doing good. Not feeling too bad today, so... Eagles didn't play, so I didn't have to watch that.
No frustration.
You're stuck with fucking pants, though, huh?
Well, yeah.
Have you seen what this son of a bitch looks like lately? I mean, he comes up to me at a fucking con, and he looks like Robert Goulet. I go, who the fuck is this? Got like a fucking beard and a perm and all kinds of crazy shit.
I just let myself go.
No, he had like a smoking jacket on and an ascot and a dickie. I said, what the fuck?
Well, none of us go to him to cons anymore, so we have no idea what he dresses like.
You lead a charmed life, believe me, that you're not stuck at cons with these jagoffs. Because it's the same jagoffs, inevitably, at these cons. I mean, it's like fucking vampires. They never go away. I mean, I run into fucks that I knew like in the 90s who come up to you like you're supposed to know who they are. Like, Sal, remember the time that, like, you know, we smeared shit all over each other and you were with, like, those two fucking Siamese twins and you were trying to put your head in one of them's ass and the other one, and I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. I honestly don't, you know. And then when you act like you don't know them, then they get all pissed at you. They're like, oh, well, Sal's all, you know, big shot now. I love when people say that. I'm like, big shot? I'm still hanging around with Chris Roop and fucking Tiziano. How much of a big shot can I be?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, consider the source. I'm like fucking, you know, New Coke. Nobody gives a shit.
So how was Luca with those fine, upsetting gentlemen?
Luca's it's kind of a blessing and a curse. It's kind of fallen the victim. It's like, you know, what happened to San Diego. San Diego used to be a lot of fun and you know, an equal amount of fun, an equal amount of work, and then it just got crazy, you know, big, and then it just got where it evened out. And the same thing happened with Luca. And when I started doing Luca like 8 years ago, it was like 35,000. And they're saying this year was like closer to 170,000, 160,000. You know, so it's gone from, you know, being able to walk around and enjoy things a little bit to just balls to the wall work all the time because it's so damn crowded. So, you know, it's kind of it's loses a lot of its charm because it's so crowded, but yet, you know, inevitably you want the show to do well. So, you know, that's where it's at. It's kind of like, you know, finding out the rabbit didn't die. You know? But yet you still got the crabs. You know, it's like one, you got one, but not the other. You know, that type of thing.
Did anybody?
So now, how many fucking guys did we lose? There's how many of you tonight?
There's 4 of us tonight.
There's 4 of us. Now, which 4? There's Pants. There's Jamie,
Shane,
and Matt.
Shane and Matt, okay, because you're like the fucking Temptations with the one white guy.
That's Pants.
Half the time there's like all these guys. They'll be like, I'll be on and there's 12 guys, and then I'll be on and there's 2 guys, and then I'll be on and it's just Pants where he's like playing video games while he's talking to me. And then there's the one where Jamie's like, what the fuck am I doing here? I just came to like pick up food, and you guys got me talking to Sal. I don't fucking talk to him. So.
They have a good bathroom here.
Peter is like the fucking, you know, I don't know. He's kind of like Jim Morrison living in Paris now. Nobody knows where the fuck he is. And then Brian's another one who's, you know, like he sleeps in one of those oxygen chambers and shit. He turned into Michael Jackson. He doesn't want to talk to me anymore.
Well, I was trying to get Peter to the studio tonight, but he actually just started a new gig with rehearsals, so he couldn't make it tonight.
Yeah. There was really, it's like probably a special like on Hot Wings or something. You know, at Buffalo Wild Wings by his house. So he's like, fuck this. I'm going to get back in line, put a wig on and get back in line and get like a second order for half price. Fuck Sal. Who wants to talk to that jagoff?
Did you eat well in Luca?
Say that again?
Did you eat well in Luca?
Yeah, I got to cut down, man. I mean, in years past, you go there and you come back like fucking Orson Welles. You buy like 2 seats, and you got to get the extender, you know, for the seat belt. And, you know, you go crazy, but I just, you know, I can't do that anymore because then I spend the rest of the winter trying to, you know, not have to wear my wife's maternity clothes because there's just, you know, you go fucking crazy over there. And so I cut down a little bit. You know, I really didn't overdo it this time. Part of it was a strange year because it was so crowded. You know, it went from, you know, $110, $120 to like 180,000. So it made it just ridiculously, you know, unmanageable from a walk around and play with yourself point of view.
Yeah.
which is one of my hobbies on my resume. is how to switch hands without missing a beat while I'm playing with myself.
Well, you do what you know.
But it's a good thing. But you got to put up with the Italians. That's part of the fucking problem. Simone and Gabrielle and the usual menagerie of jagoffs. There really is no fucking shortage of jagoffs when you get overseas. Honest to God. Lieber Mayho and all those guys. They're all just the same European fucks. Honest to God. They all walk around with like scarves. You ever see this where they tie their scarf? It takes them like 2 hours to tie their fucking scarf. I can never figure this shit out. I always thought you just threw it over your shoulder and you were done with it, right? Not these guys. They wear scarves like, fucking James Bond villains and shit, where they wrap it and it's got a special knot and it's made out of a special material and they pull that shit off. Me, I look like a big jag-off if I do that. Of course, when you got 3 chins, the scarf doesn't go around as comfortably as it did when you were like in 5th grade, So, Pants, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about the first time that you discovered Doctor Who, and the first time, when exactly finger banging left the aspect of your life.
Well, it never really leaves, does it?
You just stopped finger banging, and I'm trying to remember when that was.
No,
was that 8th grade?
No, it never really leaves you, really, does it?
It never. Well, it does, because as you get older, you just get tired of it. You're like, I ain't doing this shit anymore. I'm too fucking old for this shit. Either she wants to fuck around or I'm going home. I got a bag of Doritos at home with my name on it, and if she's not fucking gonna go with me, I'm leaving. See you later. You wind up like fucking Tiziano, Mr. Fan Expo.
We'll get to him later.
I didn't go again this year. The family is it's harder and harder, man, with the family now to travel.
I know that. It does.
It makes it really hard. Italy is just my wife. You get home and they got you on a fucking installment plan of misery when you get home because you're gone. And this year I had like the trifecta. I had New York. Well, San Diego doesn't even count because that completely fucks up my whole summer. And San Diego, and then we had New York, and I had Luca, and then I had this Norman Rockwell thing, all like right on top of each other. So I was walking around with chest pains. It was not good.
I do thank you for sending me that invite to up to that Alex Ross thing, but I just couldn't get up to it.
Well, the thing about the invite was it's there for it's there for like 3 months. The invite just to kind of give you guys a heads up that it's there. It's a real nice area, super nice area to go up there. They're unbelievably nice people. I mean, like I wasn't used to people being nice to me just for the sake of being nice to me. I'm used to people being nice to me, and then it usually turns right into, hey, somebody towed my car. Can I use your credit card? Or it usually goes right into that. I got. Listen, it really wasn't my idea to put the camera in the bathroom, but they start the sentence like that. Is usually how it is. I didn't drill the hole behind the toilet, Sal. I just held the extension cord. So I'm here at Cook County lockup right now, and could you help me? But these people were just like, it was like going to Mayberry when you go to this part of Massachusetts where the Rockwell Museum is. The whole place looks like a Norman Rockwell painting, and they asked me to stand up and say something, and I had to somehow say something that was PG rated, and it was impossible for me to talk. So I just, I introduced Alex right away and got the fuck out of there.
Now this was this was right out of the Andy Warhol thing, right? You did that.
They got the Heroes and Villains exhibition has started at Warhol, but it's the same exhibition, and then they it tours around based on what museums sign an agreement with Warhol. With the Warhol people, Jesse Kowalski, the guy who put it together at Warhol, kind of curates it, and then he goes in and the Norman Rockwell people wanted it right away because, well, they're also part of it because they lent a couple of Rockwell pieces to the show, stuff that connects directly with the stuff Alex did. So they saw it and they said, hey, after it's in Pittsburgh, we'd really like to have it. And, I think it's there 3.5 months, and then it's supposed to go someplace else, I think, next fall, but they're still hammering out the contracts and whatever. But, no, it's nice, man. And even if you're not into Alex, or the Heroes and Villains show, man, if you've never been up to the Norman Rockwell, museum, if you like them, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's like their collection of what they have up there of his stuff is just second to none. I mean, the stuff is so iconic that when you see it, it's almost like not even real anymore, because some of those images have been just, we've seen them everywhere, from Christmas calendars to, when Pants owned the video store with the porno movies, they had it in the back. When the movie was late, they used that to tell you. As a little friendly reminder,
Be kind, rewind.
Pretty much, yeah. that you're looking at some of these paintings and you're just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, this stuff is, and they actually moved his studio. His studio was another part of the country, and they picked it up in 2 pieces and put it on a flatbed.
Wow.
They moved it there. So his original studio's there, and all of his layouts and drawings. It's just like, if you're an artist or you're even into anything related to that stuff, it's a must. It's a beautiful part of the country too. I was unfamiliar with it.
Yeah, it's up in the Berkshires in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, Norman Rockwell Museum.
Yeah, it's like where all the MILFs go to die.
And definitely, if you're in the area, definitely stop up, because we stopped out. A few of us stopped out. Brian and the guys from Wild Pig and I stopped out to see the one at the Warhol Museum, and it's a great exhibition. I mean, even like Sal just said, even if you're not a true Ross fan, if you just want to see some great artwork, comic book related artwork, go out and see that. You'll also see a picture of Sal too, as he posed posed many moons ago.
Oh, why else would you want to go other than to see pictures of me when I was skinny?
Yeah, I was going to say the 3 chins less Sal.
And the exhibit runs through February 24th. You can go to nrm.org for more information. Plug.
Yeah, I get nothing for this show. Believe me.
You get goodwill, right?
No. I'm just saying I'm not recommending it because I have any ulterior motives. If you're into art or you claim to be an artist, you just enjoy art. It's unbelievable. Norman Rockwell's kind of. There's a whole generation or a couple generations that don't even know who the hell Norman Rockwell is.
Yeah, it's sad.
I can't even imagine that.
When you see this guy's work, I mean, it is literally like a guy who reached, the zenith of his talents. I mean, you're looking at it and you're going, okay, this guy got to where there was nothing he couldn't do. It was so dead on, and his use of models and his use of realism, the way he incorporates it into his compositions is like, it's unbelievable. And again, unfortunately, he's overlooked. You'd be amazed how many people are like, oh, Norman Rockwell, what are you talking about? They make drills, don't they? And you're like, yeah, guys, make drills.
Yeah, no, I used to have a coffee table book of his stuff, like the stuff from the Saturday Evening Post. Yeah. I used to sit there for hours, and I'm not artistically inclined in any way, but it was just amazing to sit and look at those and study the pictures and all the stuff he put in them, all the little nuances and little facial, just crazy.
Well, and it's also interesting that a lot of the stuff that's there you've never seen, because he started to get a lot more socially conscious in the 60s and in the late 60s and early 70s. He started to do some covers for Look magazine and other magazines where they weren't all, white bread Americana stuff that people think of when you think of Norman Rockwell. Everything is just so, white bread America. He did a lot of social conscious type paintings, stuff like, my favorite one is the black family moving into the white neighborhood painting he did for Look magazine, and the stuff he did for the UN, and a series of freedom pieces he did during the war. I mean, that stuff is unbelievable. And I got to be honest, a lot of the stuff they had, I'd never seen before. I'd never seen that stuff because, I was an art history major in college, but they skate over a lot of, the artists. They show you like a representation of them, and then they move along. So, and I never really got into Rockwell past, maybe 15 or 20 of the iconic things, and then you see a lot of the things he did, especially later in life, and you're like, Jesus, this guy was just, And then unfortunately he got sick, and he just said, he was done. He had to retire. Maybe he had problems in his eyes or something. Or Puerto Ricans moved to the neighborhood. He says, I can't take this shit.
Yeah, probably. It was that.
The guy's tying a mattress to the roof of the car, driving around the neighborhood. He said, I'm through with this shit. I'm done. That's the painting I was looking for, was the Puerto Ricans with the mattress on the roof of the El Camino. Would have made a great Saturday Evening Post cover. But the curator's like, I don't understand. What is it? And I said, oh, never mind. I was just kidding.
Now, you mentioned that you studied art history in college, and I think Jamie caught it the last time we talked to you, that you actually went to film school.
Yeah, I started as a art major because I just wanted to be a comic artist, and then as I was working in advertising for a while, and then I decided I was really into animation and film, and so I went to up to California with the USC Film School, and didn't think I was going to get in. I applied to NYU, I applied to USC, and I heard from, actually I think it was USC, I got partial scholarship, and NYU I couldn't, I don't remember what the hell it was. Either way, my mother was glad to see me get out of the house. So I went out, I just packed up my Bronco, whatever fit, and drove out to California. And I went to film school. Got out in with enough of a student loans to last me for a while, to pay those fuckers off. But I did that for a while, and then I lived out there for a little while, and I hated it. I hated Los Angeles. I was there during the Rodney King shit. I said I was done. I hated Los Angeles. And then my family was all there, so I just wanted, basically, home is where your family is, and I just it just wasn't my thing, Los Angeles. I never felt at home there. I lived there about 4.5 years, and I had enough. I was ready to get the fuck out. I mean, it's like the rectum of the world when you live in Los Angeles. It really is. People get pissed at me all the time. I'm like, guys, living there and visiting there, it's not the same thing. When you're visiting there, it's great. I mean, listen, it's a very intoxicating place when you go because the weather's perfect, and it's an entertainment town. It's not a great sports town. It's an entertainment town. There's just a tremendous amount of hot women, and how people get anything done there, I don't know, because you wind up, they'll find you dead with your tongue hanging out, and I'd had enough, man, and I wanted to move back to Chicago. So I just packed my shit. I told my roommate, I said, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I packed my shit, and I was like, what's her face, and one day at a time. We just pack your car and get the fuck out.
And
Bonnie
Romano.
Franklin. Yeah, I was like Bonnie Franklin. I said, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And then, of course, the riots didn't hurt. The Koreans on the roofs of the convenience stores taking shots at you when you drove by was a nice way to get the hell out of there. So I saw, the irony of the riots, the Watts riots, because when I was at USC's in Watts, so the riots were, was that most of the looting was being done by Mexicans. I mean, Mexicans were going nuts, and I see my favorite riot moment was I saw Mexicans running out of 7-Eleven with bags of ice. That was my favorite moment, where I was like, really, guys? You know that's frozen water, right? That by the time you get home, there's going to be nothing in the bag. You're stealing fucking bags of ice. I mean, of all the shit you could take at 7-Eleven, you didn't go for the beef jerky, huh? I would have thought maybe the salsa, or shit, the tostitas, maybe something that sounded Spanish, but ice? What the fuck? And you saw guys running on the street with couches and, television sets, and then there's the one jag-off carrying like a gross of gum or something. Like, oh yeah, there's the ambitious one right there. There's the guy. There's Bill Gates. There's the next Bill Gates right there. That son of a bitch. And it was a horrible time. It was a bad time, and the neighborhood was complete. And it was almost like a nice, easy message to say, get the fuck out of here. You don't want to live here anymore.
Were you on campus or off campus?
I was on campus the first couple of years, and then my roommate and I moved a little bit outside of campus, like, a block or two away. But the neighborhood was just shit in those days. I've been back since with my wife, and the neighbor, like most universities, they bought up most of that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And they kind of slowly but surely fixed it up a little bit, but it was just a shitty neighborhood. I mean, real bad neighborhood in downtown Watts. And it's changed tremendously now, because I know they put the Lakers got a new stadium down there and all that, the Staples Center. That was all warehouses and, where they shot Starsky and Hutch and shit in those neighborhoods when I was there. And no regrets. I made some lifelong friends. I still keep in touch with a few people that I went, that I knew there. My friend Bruce from Brazil and my roommate Steve from the UK. I keep in touch with some of those guys. I got a couple of nice cases of chlamydia, shit like that. Crotch crickets and gonorrhea a few times. So, I brought some stuff back with me.
Yeah. I just don't think I ever knew that you were in film school. I just don't think I ever remember talking
go
about
figure,
that.
right? Yeah, no, I did. I worked a lot of film production here in Chicago because I shoot a lot of commercials and did a lot of, television stuff and movies and that. I was a set PA and different things and did a lot of that here. It's just it's a good way to make a living. You make good money. It's just you work your ass off. I mean, you really, really work your ass off. And I don't know. After the further I got into it, I just always wanted to be more on the creative side, and I really wanted to do comics, believe it or not. I just always felt like I was missing what I really wanted to do, because at any time I was like, I don't really want to do this. I'd rather draw. And I went the art department route a little bit. I worked a little bit, a few places out in California doing that. I worked for the art department at Warner Brothers, for a little while, but they're such colossal. You think you know what a motherfucker is, okay? You think. And then when you work in Hollywood, man, that is like the Olympic team, Legion of the superhero versions of motherfuckers. Like every planet has just one. That's where they send them. They send them to Los Angeles. It's like, you cannot believe the level of jagoffs. Because, you're real naive when you get there. You think it's the most talented people, and it's the people who, and it's not. It's so much politics. And the guys that are getting the gigs are just, the guy's nephew and the guy's... And I kind of knew that going in, but, you think, okay, you know what, life's too short to put up with a lot of this bullshit. I'm getting the fuck out of here. So, I have no regrets getting out of Los Angeles. Once in a while. When I'm up at 2 in the morning cleaning up vomit, I'm like, why didn't I stay again? What was that about? And I was doing really well when I left. I was, I had graduated. I was living on the beach. Did not have a pot to piss in. I mean, I was living on like trail mix and top ramen. I remember was like my diet, steady diet of those two. And I had a girlfriend, and I just said, you know what, I got to get the fuck out of here. I was miserable, and packed my Bronco and said, let me get the fuck out.
I can't imagine it was the easiest thing once you graduated to just find a job. Everybody graduated with finding a job.
Well, ironically, you can't find work. I mean, you could find. I mean, it's not going to be glamorous. I mean, because you got to remember now, you got television, you got cable, you got soap operas, you've got features, and then you've got independent stuff. So out of those 5 or 6, and then that doesn't even include, like the cable TV stuff. So you've got like a lot of, of grunt work. You can always get production work, but mind you now, you're working your ass off. You're spending most of your life in traffic, because the traffic out there is just you spend literally 5 hours a fucking day, without exaggeration, sitting in your car.
I can't even imagine that.
Playing with yourself. And then, your call times are 5 a.m., 6 a.m., you got to turn around, you got to write, you're getting home. You're the last man to leave, and then you're getting right back. So it's not, you're not walking around like fucking Citizen Kane, believe me. But you can't find work. I mean, you can't keep busy to, enough to pay your bills. But you're working all the time, and your rent is usually so high, unless you're living in Shitville, that you're wind up, you're treading water, and then you turn around 3 years later and you're going, man, what the fuck am I doing? I'm still running around like a jagoff, and I'm not any happier now than I was, and I'm not even remotely doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
Most people, when they get out of film school, there's only a way to do it. Really, the only way to do it is just to make a movie. find a way to do it and do it yourself. Because when you start working for production companies, you know, they treat you like shit. You know, you're like the busboy in the restaurant. So just you know, beg, borrow, and steal, and go out and do it yourself. You know.
Yeah, I've heard the life of a fluffer is kind of tough.
Yeah, you know, fluffing isn't what it used to be, because I used to go under the name Buster Hyman. That didn't fly for me. They saw who I was.
You killed Pants.
I'm sorry.
You broke him. He's broken.
I'm sorry. We were off on such a. My wife was smiling. We were off on such a good tangent, you know. And then she put the towel down and walked out of the room when I said Buster Hyman. You know, she always makes me promise to not act like a complete jag-off. You know, only like a 2/3 jag-off. You know, not a diluted version.
Oh God!
So.
Oh, that was good.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'll be serious.
Oh, now you'll be serious.
Yeah, right. You know.
Well, let's turn it serious for a minute. How about you talked about, you know, art and so forth. What can you tell us about your project Dago's on the Moon?
Yeah, well, you know, Dago's was a thing that I started. It was a long time. Let me tell you something, man. Life is. I'm gonna tell you something you already know. Life is short.
Yes.
You know, you got it. You really, if you want whatever it is you want, just go fucking do it, and don't worry about how you're going to do it, because in the end, you know, you got to get up and go to work every morning, no matter what. So while I was doing the film stuff, I was just like, this sucks, because I'm working for people that are not, you know, any more creative than me or not any better than me, but yet I'm still the fucking jagoff who's got to run and pick up some piece of shit at the airport, you know. So I said, you know what? But in the end, okay, you want to do this? Put your money where your mouth is. So I had a project that I did in college, which is the one, you know, the project about the street kids in South America, which is the one I'm working on now. And then Spike Lee was doing a lot of shit at that time, and then he was doing the whole, you know, he was doing his thing. He was doing what he knows best. So I said, you know what? I should do my version of that, only with greaseballs. So I said, you know, nothing too, you know, overly dramatic, and I can't do anything that, you know, I can't do fucking Macbeth with Guidos, because nobody would buy it. So I said, fuck it, Dago's on the Moon. So I developed this book that I actually put it together as a pitch. I pitched it around to different companies. They all categorically told me to go fuck myself, you know, alphabetically and otherwise. Image and all those jagoffs, that piece of shit over at Top Cow, what's his name, Matt Hawkins and all those guys. They all walk around. Those guys all walk around like they're fucking big shots. You know, there, I said it. Most of the guys, no. Look, if you don't like something, it's real simple. Hey, man, it's not for me. I'm sorry. You know what? Good luck with it, but it's not my thing. There's no reason not to be civilized. But most of these guys, when they get a sense of authority, they think it's a good time for them to make up for, you know, how many times they got shoved in a locker when they were in high school. So I shopped it around, and a lot of these guys were jagoffs. Silvestri could not have been nicer, and Eric Larson couldn't have been nicer, a lot of these guys at the time. But some of them were real jagoffs. So it's basically, in a nutshell, it's a squadron of Italian fighters and bombers that gets lost on its way to a bombing run, and they wind up on the Moon. Because everybody knows that the Italian Army in World War II were just colossal fuck-ups. They couldn't find their ass with a funnel. You know, I mean, the Germans actually asked for their planes back. They said, listen, give us our planes. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're like Simone. You can't find your way home with a fucking road map, you know. You know, so they that's a true story. The Germans actually gave them planes and said, you guys are such fuck-ups. We asked you to invade Ethiopia, and you can't invade Ethiopia. Where there's like two black guys that came out with a spear and said, what do you guys want? And the Italians go, I don't know. What do we want? Do we want anything? We don't? All right, let's go home and siesta and eat pasta. So it's basically that in a nutshell.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what it's about. I mean, and it's kind of from that point of view, it goes to the, you know, what happens to them when they're on the Moon. And it's a lot more, you know, there's a lot more to it than that, but that's it in a nutshell. It's a squadron of Italian fighters that, you know, that get lost.
Yeah, because I've seen some of the images on your site, and I love the one where you see all the planes in the air. That is gorgeous.
Yeah, well, again, it's not just, and then what it is there's a lot of, the Nazis were having them use their experimental planes, so there's a lot of, a lot of the planes are just like shit that's made up and stuff like that. So it's something that and it's kind of, black humor, black comedy type stuff, tongue-in-cheek kind of stuff. It's not meant to be too serious. It's not meant to be completely, comedy shit, but it's also just kind of meant to be kind of a science fiction kind of thing. So it's something that's near and dear to my heart that I'm gonna work on next. But this project I'm on now is gonna take me a while. It's it's a lot of work. So because I'm doing most of it myself, because I got just so tired of working with people that just scratch their ass. No, inevitably you got to do most of it yourself because you try to collaborate with people, and so many people just, they're not going to be into it as much as you are. So, you wind up becoming the fucking high school principal that gets the excuses you just get tired of it. You're like, fuck this, their dog died and a tree fell and, their ass hurts and you're like, guys, just be straight with me. Just say, hey, I can't do it, or I'm busy, or I'm this, or you're not Marvel, and you just finally say, you know what, let me just do it myself. So that's why it's taking me so long.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
But at least it'll be done right.
I'll be serious. I won't talk about being a fluffer anymore. How many guys got up and left at this point?
No, we're all
I can always hear the door creak. Where we hear keys jingling. You go, get the fuck out of here. This guy.
We're checking our Facebook statuses right now.
He's never going to know. He's just going to, just, is he still listening? Is he listening? Okay, shh, I'll sit down. Because Jamie right now is looking at the pizza menu going, well, if I get the medium, does it come with the mozzarella sticks? I hear him ordering pizza in the background. But yet, if I get the souvlaki plate, what does that include? Does that include the fries? It doesn't include the fries? Oh, fuck it then. Do I get the RC? You guys have RC where you live?
Yeah, RC Cola, sure.
RC Cola.
Yeah, it's like I thought only Jagoffs in Chicago, Jagoff pizza joints had RC here. We order pizza and hey, you get a free thing of RC, and it's like Kool-Aid. It's like the shit we drank when we were kids.
I actually never had that.
No?
You never had RC?
No.
Oh, you lead a charmed life.
I think if you look hard enough, you'd find
RC's like
Tab.
Yum Yum Cola. It's like the shit that's on sale.
Yes, real crown.
So now you got what happened? You guys just decided I've had enough of your bullshit. I'm not coming to cons anymore.
My family and moving into a new house got in the way.
I will second that.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie's got no fucking excuse.
Oh, well, now be careful.
Thank you very much.
Jamie's like one of the 3 people at cons that I like, and he doesn't go to fucking.
Yeah, I
cons.
know, and you're like one of the people I like at cons, and
But every time I see Jamie, he's always kind of like. He never, what pisses me off most about this fucking Jamie. Let me tell you something about Jamie.
Okay,
right?
I'll leave now. You can talk about me.
He's this fucking guy that whenever he sees me, he stands off. Whenever he comes over to my table, he stands off to the side, like I don't know if I should talk to Sal or not. I'm going to stand over here, like as if I don't know the fucking guy. And whoever I'm standing there talking to at the time. Believe me, 99% of the time, it's some jagoff that wants, to know where the nacho stand is, or he wants change for $1, or they're out of toilet paper in the John. Do you know where the phone book is? Shit like that. There's always one asshole actually asked me that. He goes, you know if they have a phone book around here? I'm like, hey, asshole, who the fuck uses a phone book? My mother doesn't use the phone book anymore, and she's 80 years old, for Christ's sake. They still leave these things on my porch, and it's like until they turn into just a mass of wet pulp, where it fucking rains for 3 months. And then finally you go, what in the fuck is that? And you go, it's a phone book. It doesn't matter. Nobody uses it anymore, except the asshole that bothers Sal at cons. I look at him, I go, do I look like the guy who knows where the fuck the phone book is? The guy at the tollway, you're asking me directions. So I just gave him some bullshit answer. I go, over in the corner, that's the guy with the phone book right there. Name's Angel Medina. Probably using it to sit on. It's right over there.
At least a couple, at least.
Right. And then Pants is always got to walk up like I said, he's fucking Robert Goulet. Walks up with a cigarette holder. Sal, did you see where they put us this year? You're never going to believe it. He walks up with a map. He goes, you see this over here? This is where we were supposed to be, but now they got us over here. You can't even believe where they put us, Sal. And I'm looking at him like, Pants, what the fuck? I'm in the same boat. You think they give a shit? If I don't bring Alex, they treat me like a fucking $2 bitch. I get no special none. Zero. Tiziano, who runs the show, puts me next to fuckers that never speak a word of English every single time. And I go, Tiz, listen, I don't got a lot of, I don't consider myself a high maintenance pain in the ass. Like some of these people that go there and they need special markers and special chairs and all this bullshit, right? They need the 3-prong dildo instead of the 2-prong. They need the Benoit balls can't be imported because the spermicide doesn't work. All that sick shit, right? I show up, I need a chair and a table. That's it. And not to be stuck next to the fucking guy that runs the 7-Eleven and the guy that comes to tow your truck. Who they don't speak a word of fucking English. And then Tiz always goes, oh, you're going to like the guy I put you next to now. You know what he draws? And I go, go ahead. Just for the sake of it. He draws that book about the owl and the cat. And the owl is, and I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that is. I don't even know, oh, but he's a good guy. So I got to get going. I got to go. William Shatner's calling me. I got to go. He's got always name drop, the guy who played the second villain on Starship 9 is calling me. So I got to get going right now. And I'm like, I don't even know who the fuck that is, Tiz. I don't even know who you're talking about.
It's either that or he pretends to hear something that in the earpiece or something.
Yeah, he's got the earpiece. Like, he's the guy watching John F. Kennedy. I go, asshole, what could they possibly ask you for in there? Where the Skittles are? Because I see the fucks that work with him, okay? This is not a crack ship operation. These guys are not putting B-17s together. Trust me. There's a reason why these fuckers run Fan Expo. Most of the volunteers you got over there, they walk around with the jerseys 3 sizes too small. It's like, hey, guys, did they have a XXX? Okay? Here's a rule. Take it from a fat guy who's got hairy tits, who knows. If you've got tits, don't get the fucking jersey too small.
Those are words to live by, folks.
Right? And when it's 4,000 degrees, why the fuck are you wearing a hockey jersey? That's the other question. I mean, it's like a sauna in there, and they're wearing a hockey jersey. It's like, guys, where are you going? Where the fuck are you going? It's like, who put that show together? But then when you meet the guys, you go, oh, no wonder. There's a reason that this shit happens the way that it happens,
Isn't that the new... Isn't the jersey thing the new Kevin Smith look? Every time I see him lately, that's what he's doing.
Like I said, I don't know. Kevin Smith, it's a different story. That's his thing. He's always dressed, with the surfer shoes, and But I understand it was a good idea when I first saw it. The Fan Expo guys to have the hockey jerseys with the logo on. But guys, you can amend it a little bit. When it's 10,000 degrees, or when you decided you didn't want to put the fucking put the fork down after the 8th or 9th helping of Crisco, you just say, hey, you know what? I look like one of the evil mutants at this point. Maybe I should go a size up in the jersey.
I blame it on the poutine.
Well, they got those ketchup, chips in Canada. That might be something to do with it. I'm not sure. Or the guy that sells the bow wows on the bridge right outside of the CNN Center. Might have something to do with it. But, I didn't go this year, but not that, there was a sign outside where Sal, but, I had to, my wife needed me here for something I'm sure that I could have lived without, Wives just get to that point where they ask you to do shit just to break your balls. No other reason, I know my wife goes, how can I fuck with Sal tonight? I know what I'll do. I'll tell him he's got to stay home from Toronto, So, because I know he likes sitting next to those fucking guys that he never heard of, that Tiziano puts him next to, And then Tiziano walks in and goes, hey, listen, I got chocolate in my office if you want to come by later. Really? Wow. Holy fuck, I'm with the in crowd, Jamie. I know what a guy who's got the chocolate in his office. You know, he does that shit to me. He comes up to me and goes, hey, Sal, listen, I got those crackers with the peanut butter on them. You want some of that? I'm like, Tiz, what the fuck do I know? I don't want that stuff. You know, I'm a disciplined eater. I don't eat that shit. You know, look at me. Look at my physique. You know, I'm like Daredevil, for Christ's sake. Who are you kidding?
And then he says, "Oh, come with me. I'm going outside to smoke. Come with me. Talk to me outside."
Yeah, no. That's the other thing with guys that are chain smokers. Because Tiz only smokes 2 cigarettes a day. That's what he tells me. I've only had 2 today.
He smoked 2, and I was with him for 5 minutes.
Fucking guy has 2 before he wakes up. He smokes 2 in his sleep. And then you walk in the room, and you open it up, and it's like the place is on fire. And he goes, I wasn't smoking. What are you talking about? He turns into Linus from fucking Peanuts, right? He lies right to your face like I'm a child. I wasn't smoking. What are you talking about? I go, Tiz, look at me. Look at me. Really? You know, you weren't smoking? How fucking old do I look? I'm not 3 times 7. I know when you're smoking, jag off. Just say, hey, sorry, I was smoking. Big deal. And he smokes a cigarette on his way to smoke a cigarette. That's the other thing.
That's right.
He's got a pregame.
Yeah, you know. So it's always about smoking cigarettes. Because when we were in Italy, we were next to the guy who's going to develop. I guess he's going to translate The Walking Dead into Italian. I told the guy, I go, listen, there is no Walking Dead in Italian because they stop for siesta. The fucking zombies stop and sit down. They're too lazy to go kill anybody. Don't you understand? Not possible to have a Walking Dead in Italy. They're too fucking lazy to do anything over there. First of all, they'll never get the disease because they never go outside. 2, the guys that are outside walking around, they're never going to chase you. They're just going to sit down and go, I ain't chasing him. Fuck him. No, fuck that guy. What time is it? 2 o'clock? Oh, I got to take a break. I'm not going to go kill anybody. So he didn't get the joke. He's like, I don't understand. Never mind. Forget it. You know, I'm sorry. I'll tell it to Peter next time I see him. Just never. So. But the last time I saw Pants, he comes up to me and he's like, so what do you think, Sal? Like I'm the guy, like I'm the coach walking off the field at halftime, you know, in a football game. I go, Pants, how the fuck do I look around? It's like New York. Everybody asks me what I think about New York. New York's a mess. It's always a mess. But that's how it's going to be when you get that many jag-offs in one place at one time. I mean, and, you know, is it going to get any better? No, because the Javits is a nightmare, you know, and they know it's a nightmare over there, you know. But you know, in the end, it's the crowds are way up. Look at San Diego, New York, Italy. I mean, you know, Fan Expo, all these shows. Everybody's doing really well. Even Jim in Emerald, you know, at Seattle, that show, they're doing really, really well. I don't understand how it's going to correlate to more people buying comics, though. I don't know the numbers. I guess people are hopeful lately. They say the comic numbers are up. You guys would know better than me, right? Is the stuff selling? I mean, I think there's a lot of variance. Yeah, I talked with Jim Lee a little bit when I was at Luca, and he, you know, because I was asking him about the online stuff, because everybody's bragging about the online stuff. Because I just signed with Comixology to do for Atomica, you know, for people in Russia that have an iPad, and you know, they're like, hey, we want to have Atomica. I'm like, fine, you know. And he said it for all the noise and all the pomp and circumstance that the iPad gets with comics. I guess it's still a tiny part of comics are the iPad, which I thought it was more. I was under maybe a delusion. More people read comics online, you know. I guess it's the way it's always been. People still like the comic in their hand.
Yeah.
I think that's true. Out of the 8 of us total, 2 of us read them online, really. Me and Brian.
I tried downloading stuff that I don't see, you know, indie stuff or weird stuff. I download a bunch of stuff when I'm going to fly, but I got to be honest, I have a hard time reading it on the iPad. It's kind of, you know, you tap it, and you tap each panel, and you know, it just doesn't do it for me. It's nice to have it on the iPad for when you're traveling or you're fucking around, or you know, it's cool, looks cool. I think it's an important part of marketing. Whatever it is you're doing, you've got to What seems to be the trend now, if you're doing a project, is that they like all the extra stuff. Like you scan your pencils, you scan your inks, you scan your finals,
Yeah.
and then the people get a sense of how it all, when you merge them all and you watch the process and you can do character, sets and do turnarounds and all that shit. People, they seem to really like that stuff. Now, is it worth it? Yeah, I guess. It's probably going to take a while, but even then I don't think comics are ever going to be, the strength of comics is ever going to be digital. I think it's always going to be on paper. Mm-hmm. That being said, who the fuck knows? 20 years from now, but I won't be around. So I'll be in South America, hiding, from my wife someplace.
Well, I know for me, it's just gotten to a point where I have too much shit in the house. I don't want to collect more. I want to read it, but I don't want to store it or worry about getting rid of it.
Yeah, I get in a lot of trouble when I do that. Everybody's like, "What do you mean you don't save your comics?" I'm like, guys. The Masterworks and certain things like that I buy, and of course I save that stuff. But a lot of comics that I buy, like I just bought the new, I just bought the new Captain America by JR, and I bought Monster Man hardcover that Gary Gianni just came out, and a few other things. Certain things, I'll put on the shelf. Mm-hmm. The Captain America, I'll usually pass it along.
Yeah, I'll
give it to somebody else. Like here, I'll give it to my son, or I'll give it to take it to school or whatever, and then his teachers yell at me because it's. You're not supposed to bring that shit. I'm like, hey guys, what do you want from me? Leave me alone. Put it in a birdcage. What do you want from me? I'm trying to pass the shit on for other people to read it. I'm not one of those guys that has to read it and put it in a bag. And some things, sure. If it's something that I think is important to me, of course, I like to save it. But I know guys that they get the free stuff. They get the free comps every month, and they still sit on them. They still save them all, and I don't understand it. Because there's a lot of shit out there, man. There's a lot of glut.
Do you think digital would become more prevalent if they lowered the price so that it's not about the same as the paper copy, the floppy?
I don't think so. I think that I think comics are just kind of. I mean, when television came out, let me back up. When movies came out, plays, the stage, which was king. Took an enormous hit, and then when movies came out, everybody thought, "Holy shit, this is the way it is because it's cheap and it's immediate." And and most of the country at the time, which were immigrants, could go and watch a movie, and it was inexpensive. But what people don't realize, when television came out, people going to the movies went down by more than half. Maybe like almost 2/3 of the people who went to the show stopped going to the show when television came out. So everybody's like, oh, movies are that's it. They're done. They're going to die. Why are people going to go to the show when they get the shit at home for free and they can watch Snooki? Now, that being said, everybody told me from a business point of view the digital stuff was going to reign supreme because publishers could save a lot of dough, which, let's face it, it's about money. With a lot of companies, they look at their bottom line because they don't have to print anymore. You don't have to pay a printer. You don't have to pay to have the production costs go way down when you put it online. That's what happened in Chicago. A lot of photographers, I mean, like 75%, 80% of the entire industry in Chicago, which was photographers, studio photographers, went out of business because we used to be the catalog capital of America, and then everybody who had a catalog, they just got a website. Why print a catalog? Yeah. Unless you're those annoying fucks that fill my mailbox every second day for the shit that my wife buys from Restoration Hardware, where it's $400 for a doorknob, and Crate and Barrel, and where there's never any hot chicks in those things anymore. To the catalog from Victoria's Secret I steal from my neighbor. Because people just So is it the sky's falling? Nah, I don't think so. Now, the only thing that worries me is when this group of us, I worry about the guys behind us. Who's going to read comics behind us? Who's taking the place of when guys move on to other shit? I don't know if it's enough. But then again, you look at what happens in the business where you've got Disney buying Marvel, and now you got Disney buying Lucas, and you got all the rest of this shit. There's obviously a lot of value. There's a lot of money in these characters and these trademarks in these properties. So, it's kind of like the global warming thing. I don't worry about it too much because I won't be around when this shit, when you go outside and you catch on fire.
Now-
My kid will have to worry about it. What the fuck was my father doing with a Mustang?
Now
Could have
take
drove a...
take
I had
my-
a lady yelling at me the other day. You know that car? And I said, lady, I have one vice. Okay, my car. I don't smoke. Well, relatively speaking. I don't run around like a jagoff. I don't burn leaves anymore. Remember when you could burn leaves?
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
do that shit anymore. I got a car. Oh, your carbon footprint. I go, listen, lady, leave me alone, will you? Will you leave me alone? Will you stop bothering me and let me go get my pork rinds and stop fucking bothering me with your bullshit.
Now you take my 11-year-old. Well, he'll be 11 in a couple weeks. He likes to read comics because I pass them on, but he prefers trade paperbacks and to read something on an iPad or a Nook. But that's a whole generation away of kids finally getting into doing something like that, because that's what they're being taught, that it's better to get a device or a computer and read it through that way.
But I think the way around all that shit, is to teach your kid to do something, to be creative. I mean, my kid is the same way. He's 5 now, so he's full blown. My dad doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about mode now. He's just a full blown. Rolls his eyes, like the. He gives me when I tell him to stop it, because my father would tell me to stop it or he's going to put my head through the wall.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore.
Nope.
My father, he'd back up the car and hit me with it. That's shit my pension. Call in an airstrike or something, shit like that. But, I say, he likes the stuff on the iPad. He likes to read comics. He likes the stuff on television. That's great, but I try to get him to draw. Now, I'm not trying to get him to draw force him, to draw like he's got to be an artist. I just want him to do something creative, because inevitably I read a shitload of comics as a kid, but then you want to go draw. You want to go do that stuff yourself, and that's good, because the stuff still needs to be put together by somebody. Computers are never going to, technology's never going to take the place of that, the creative aspect of things. So whatever it is you're going to do, film or music or you want to be an artist, whatever the hell it is. I mean, for all the downside of it, there's a shitload more upside to get your work out there to get people to see it. A guy like me who wanted to go in the front door, and it just was never going to fucking happen. They were never going to let me draw Boba Fett. It just wasn't going to happen. Not the way my unless you were dropping acid, or you were someplace in a bus terminal, someplace smoking hash. It weren't going to let me draw for Marvel or DC. And every time I see one of those editors, I remind them what colossal pricks they were to me. But that's besides the point. But inevitably, you can sit down and do it yourself. You can't just say, what, fuck it, let me do it myself. If you're confident enough in what you're trying to do, and you have to have that creative outlet, you find a way to do it. You find a way to say, all right, you know what, I'm not going to let the way that I wanted it to go, whatever it is, that way, or I'm not going to blame technology, because you can find 100 reasons why not to get into comics anymore. That's all. I get lots of death rattles. I knew lots of guys that were in comics 15 years ago that still, they love to talk shit about it. But ironically, I see them at cons telling me that. They come up to me at cons and they're like, I can't believe you're still doing this. It's such a waste of time. And I'm like, yeah, well then why are you here, asshole? Why are you standing in front of me, bothering me? It's not perfect. I gotta do what I have to do. I have to do my little dance, with that, for Alex and Sienkiewicz, and do different things to make a living. I would love to be able to just put out a book and survive that way, but it's just not going to happen. And especially the way the trend is headed now with Marvel and DC, where I know a lot of guys that just are not going to get work because they're asked to take a pay cut. I mean, for all the bragging and all the bullshit you see online of people bragging about how they're doing, the Marvel and DC are hiring people from all over the world. It's motivated. Make no mistake, it's motivated 75% by getting them to work cheap versus getting the best talent. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of guys that it is based on their talent. That they're going out like this isn't sour grapes. There's guys like Lee Bermejo and Simone and Gabriele and you could go the route of a lot of the French, Italian, even the guys from the UK, Gary Frank and different guys. It's about their talent. It's about their ability to tell a story, and they're great artists. But a lot of the ones they get from the Philippines and South America or even Mexico and that, it's about money. It's about guys willing to work for $40 a page. Because that's a lot of money in those places. It's not a lot of money here, but there's a lot of guys working at Marvel and DC that are making fucking $40 a page. And what are you going to do with that? I mean, $40, that's $40 a day. I mean, you can make that at a drive-through. And that's pre-taxes, making that kind of money. So, I mean, I know there's certain guys that I run into that I see that don't work in comics anymore. I'm like, man, what the hell happened? They're like, they wanted me to take a pay cut. They wanted me to go down to reduce my rate by half or forget it. And that's why a lot of them said, fuck it, I may as well go do my own thing. I may as well do an independent. But if you're going to work for that or you're going to work for next to nothing, you may as well do your own shit. Yeah. Because then at least you don't have some, 20-year-old jagoff up in the Marvel offices who sharpens pencils all day telling you, no, he needs a dog. You should really give Atomic a pet dog. Guy wears leather pants. One time I showed my portfolio to a guy with leather pants. I look at him, I go, where in the fuck is this guy going? I was like, he's like David Lee Roth in the 1994 tour. I was waiting for him to start singing Panama. I'm like, where in the fuck is this guy going with leather pants?
So, I was going to say, are you reading any of the new Marvel Now books that are coming out?
I haven't. I mean, and I don't mean that as a slight, because nobody loves comics more than me. I mean, I do shows everywhere with the sole motivation of I love comics, and but I don't get to the stores often as I'd like, because I brought my kid there the other day. We picked up a lot of stuff. I picked up. I pick up, like you were saying, I pick up some trades. I picked up the stuff JR's doing. I picked up the Gary Gianni stuff. I picked up that Shaolin Cowboy, sort of a trade-ish kind of a book by Jeff Darrow. But I see some of it online. I mean, I check the comic sites every day to see it, and if it looks cool, I'll buy it. I don't base it on Marvel, DC, or characters anymore, because a lot of the characters are not the characters that I knew. But if it looks cool, I'll buy it. I don't give a shit who's doing it or what the character is or who the publisher is. It's more motivated by, man, this guy's doing some cool shit, and then I'll grab it. And I haven't seen it. I always ask. I say, hey, man, what's good or what's cool right now? And then sometimes people will suggest stuff, and I'll buy it. And other times I'm like, oh, this is not for me, And other times I buy old shit that I thought was great, and I look through it and I'm like, man, this stuff is bad. You ever buy stuff you just loved as a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Thought it was the greatest thing on earth? Like Sika videos or something, and then you see them now and you go, my God, what a pig she was. Holy fuck. That happened to me with Werewolf by Night. I bought the complete run of Werewolf by Night. I got it home and I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck happened to her? Jesus Christ. The Living Mummy or something, shit like that.
That was Marvel Team Up for me. That was one of the ones. I used to love that one, so I got...
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, I got a whole set. I painstakingly got a whole set through back issue bins and all that. I'm sitting down reading going... Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy how bad some of that... Yeah. The Defenders is like that.
Yeah, I mean there's some gems in there here and there.
Yeah, here and there.
But
on
for the
most
whole,
part,
it's like, oof.
You're like, holy shit. What happened? Wow. Some of the stuff just hit the wall and the wheels came off. You're like, Jesus Christ. But again, there's a certain charm to some of that shit you read as a kid. It brings you back. But then there's other stuff that you go, no, it's just pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's not what I remembered. I think
Super Friends is like that for me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I used to sit there and watch that as a kid, I sat and watched. I was like, did those writers think we were all dumb, or did we just suddenly get smart? After a certain age.
I have that same problem with the A-Team. Is sometimes I'll be like, wait, that's a bad wig. That's not George Papard. That's his stunt double.
Yeah. There's a lot of that stuff. You looked at it and you were like, holy shit. I mean, because they got some of it on here, like Starsky and Hutch. And the first season, yes, but then once Hutch got fat, forget about it. He got fat and he had the porn star mustache, and he let his shit go. You're like, when I was in grammar school, there were teenage girls that would throw underwear at this guy, and then you saw what he let his shit go to, like his second season, and you go, my God, David Soul, what are you, out of your fucking mind? I mean, if I was one of the producers, I would say, would you swallow? Like, did you eat the Red Torino, or what the fuck did you do, asshole?
Well, wasn't that about the time that he suddenly had a music career?
Well, yeah, Dad, and he he beat the shit out of his wife a couple of times. I remember that was in the news, and then his image went down the toilet. He couldn't get any work anymore because he kept getting arrested for domestic violence.
Yeah, but you still had Huggy Bear, so that was always
still
good.
had Huggy Bear, but they started to get like so cheap with that shit. You know, some of the shows where they would shoot it in like 2 rooms, and you're watching, and you're going, my God, this stuff's fucking horrible. You know, I make my wife sometimes because here's how you know how long you've been married, based on what percentage of shit your wife lets you keep on the DVR. When you first get married, it's full of your shit. You know, everything you tape, from like the football game just because you want it, to, like back shit of like, the Herculoids and like Kojak, fucked up stuff you see at 4 a.m. just because you fell asleep, right? The modern Marvels, Hoover Dam, shit like that. What the fuck did I record that for? And then you look back and go, I don't even remember I recorded that shit, right? Stuff like World War II in color. You're like, what the fuck? Like secret weapons of the Gestapo, all this sick, demented shit that you record at 2 a.m., right? My wife used to leave it all on there. All of it. I mean, it would never get fucked with. Now, when I come home from a show, it's literally like I've been dead. Like I'm the guy on Homeland who they called her up and said, "Hey, we found Sal. He's still alive." All right? But it's like 75 fucking hours of Jada and the Barefoot Contessa and the same fucking 6 shows of how to make corned beef and mashed potatoes, and I'm like, when the fuck are you going to make all this shit that you got on here? Is what I want to know. And how many episodes do you need to know how to make mac and cheese, for Christ's sake? That you need to fucking barefoot this and the skank with that? And I'm willing to tolerate it if maybe the broad was hot at least. You know what I mean? Jada's 2 feet tall, so I can't get hot for Jada.
I was going to say, come on, she is hot.
No. Jada, right, but Jada, my wife has so many fucking episodes of Jada that I go, when are you going to make any of this shit? Like at the beginning of the show, it's like, today we're making homemade bread, and we're going to make provolone cheese from scratch, where we're going to go out to the cow to get the milk. And I look at my wife and I go, when the fuck are you going to do this? All right? Homemade bread. My great-grandma made homemade bread because they were living in the tenements and they were starving to death. Okay? Bread is like 3 loaves for $1 now. What the fuck do you got to make homemade bread for? And mac and cheese. How many different ways do you need to make that? And it never gets made, not around this house. When I come home, it's like, I got to make whatever, or she makes whatever. I go, where's all that Jada shit that I had to lose my World War II in color for? That the 6 episodes of Kojak got deleted for. Where the fuck is that? I come back and I'm like, wait a minute, I had a whole run of the Flintstones here that I was looking forward to. And you fucking dumped it all, huh? Well, I needed the room. And so, yeah. I'm sorry. The episode where Starsky and Hutch with the Las Vegas Strangler? No, that had to go. They had to get rid of that guy, Sal. And some of those episodes with Brainiac? No, they could have let loose on those, too. I'm sorry. She talks to me like I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm hearing a casualty report. And you know what else we had to get rid of? You remember the Modern Marvels where they talked about, like stuff from the 70s, like how they made 8-track players and shit? Oh, I just deleted that one. And I'm like, did I record that? I don't even fucking remember, or you record like 6 shit from the Olympics, like the girls' volleyball or whatever the fuck you recorded, and you're like, oh, I wanted to watch the Olympics. Anybody who watches it notice I only recorded the 6 shit, the girls' volleyball, or like the water polo, but it's got to be all female. It's all shit like that. My wife's like, fuck that. She deletes all of it. All of it. I come home and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I had the Library of Congress, a fucking perversion going on here. My wife dumped it all for 2 broads putting garlic in fucking mashed potatoes. Big deal. Today we're going to be skewering up. We're going to kill an antelope in the wild with a bow and arrow from the back of a station wagon. We're going to impale it on a tree. We're going to cut its spleen out, and we're going to fry it. So get your pens and paper ready, for the ingredient. And I'm looking at them, I'm going, when the fuck are we going to do this? If there's no room for Huggy Bear and Kojak.
Room for Huggy Bear.
For SWAT. Why did you have to fucking delete SWAT? The television show with Robert Forrest for this shit. How come? She's like, do you really watch that stuff? Oh, yeah. I want to believe that it's 1977 and I don't weigh more than 200 pounds. Because, in those days, shit. Come on.
I used to have an
That's when I
emergency
had the
place
Black
set.
Eye Rock. It's a good time to try to relive that shit. Or it's got to be 2 fucking idiots who buy a house and then they strip the porch. And I look at it and all I tell my wife is like, who does this kind of shit? People that got nothing but time on their hands. Who buy a fucking fire station and then they rip out the basement and they put a disco down there and shit like that. My wife, she watches this shit. Or like the guy in the Philippines who's buying an apartment building. Who gives a fuck? And who moves to the Philippines? They move here. Nobody moves to the Philippines. The Filipinos move to fucking Chicago. I know, because I went to high school with all these jagoffs. Oh, but Sal, we learn a lot about real estate. So now, wait a minute. Learn a lot about real estate. What are you gonna? Now you're gonna sell real estate? Is that the idea? Just tell me the real reason, which is I can hear the thought process, which is this fucking asshole isn't gonna watch this, and then she hits delete. This fat ass ain't here to see me delete this either. And he's too old to remember what I deleted. But listen, I remember every show you fucking deleted. Trust me, every single one of them.
See, I have the problem where I'm watching something and my wife's like, do you really need to watch this? I'm like, all right. So I give her the remote and then she stops on that buy that dress or something like that where it's women are going in to pick out the perfect
wedding dress,
but it's out of their limits, something like that. I'm like, do you know this woman? No. I was like, then why do you give a fuck what dress she buys?
It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Like the Housewives of Atlanta she had on the other day. I go, do you fucking believe this?
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. These broads, they got skin like fucking suitcases. All right? I mean, if they pulled their fucking pants down, it looks like a taco. You'd throw up. You'd kill yourself. Okay, you'd kill yourself. If I was on a desert island, all right, and they said, "Sal, you got to give it to a tree, or you got to give it to one." I say, "Give it to a tree." Right here. I'd be like Tom Hanks. I'd give it to the volleyball. Come here, Wilson. Come over here. A little moist. Come on, what do you say? Give a little kiss. Those broads from Atlanta are fucking disgusting. I mean, just disgusting. And then they sit and they bitch and they complain. While their husbands, these jagoffs are at work all day, busting their ass. And these broads sit around the house complaining about what color nail polish. My wife watches this shit. I go, listen, why don't they fucking do shit with the house, with the husbands, of different cities who sit on their ass? No, because we're the guys that get our asses thrown out. We're at work all day dropping dead of a heart attack. That's why you never see the fucking husbands of Atlanta, because those poor pricks. But I blame the husbands. They let these broads get away with that. They let them just sit around, spend their money, brag about what jagoffs their husbands are. It's that whole Oprah generation that, empowered everybody to think that men are all jagoffs. It started with Alan Alda and Phil Donahue. Go fuck yourselves. The sensitive man. Fuck out of here. Sensitive man. Yeah, that's why we're dropping dead of heart attacks. My old man used to say, guys don't die. We just see an open hole and we just jump in. We said, we've had enough of shit. I can't take it anymore. I can't fucking take it anymore. I can't even have, like, the Herculoids on my television set. You pay a mortgage and I paid a cable bill and I can't have a fucking television show about these jagoffs that live in a cave, for 22 minutes or however long it is. Because she's got to watch the same broad put they put garlic in mashed potatoes? Wow. What about and I got the jagoffs of how we went to the moon, okay? How they built the pyramids, the jagoffs that built the Panama Canal. You never see Jada talking about how they built the Panama Canal, right? Or how they invented the light bulb, okay? Men, all men that did that. There was women. Can you imagine building the Panama Canal? They go, wait a second. So we got to do what? We got to move. First, we got to get a bolt. I don't understand. We did all that shit. The television set, the lights, banks, roads, all the way back to the Romans. All men. All jagoffs now. We're all treated like jagoffs. As soon as I hang up with you guys, well, why were you raising your voice? Wow. Because the neighbor, I love this part. The neighbors are going to wonder what's going on here. Listen, let me tell you something. My neighbors all thought I was a jagoff 5 years ago when I moved in. So what difference does it make? I don't talk to my neighbors. I see my neighbors. Hi, how are you? If most of my neighbors, they don't even know I'm alive. They walk in when they see me. They're like, "Oh fuck, they're Sal." They act like they owe me money. Oh shit. There's the guy that smokes cigars. And he still uses a lawnmower that uses gasoline. That's what my one neighbor said to me the other day. He goes, guys, I swear to God, this is how you know you live in the suburbs. 2 reasons you know you live in the suburbs. An obsession with leaves. What their fucking obsession is out here in the suburbs with leaves, I'll never understand. You got to put them in a certain kind of pile. You got to have special bags. You got to have stickers for those bags. The bags have to be stacked a certain way. You know what I do? I rake them into the street. Let nature take care of it, right? The wind blows, right? They're going to go somewhere. I don't know where, but they're not in front of my house anymore. My neighbor comes out, he goes, you really shouldn't do that. I go, yeah, there's a lot of things I shouldn't do, like eat butter, but it's too much fun. So leave me alone, will you? Leaves and these jagoffs that come around and they got to be nosy. Like, you know what, Sal? You really should consider an electric lawnmower. Okay. Electric lawnmower. Let me explain something to you. My lawnmower is on for what? 5 minutes, 3 times a year. I don't have Forest Lawn Cemetery in my yard. I got like a little yard, one of those little guinea palaces where you sit out there with the lawn chair and go, "Hi guys, how are you?" And I got my feet in the water cooler. Well, I think I buy a gallon of gas every 5 years. And this jagoff comes over to me and goes, they're a lot quieter, and they don't add as much to the emission. And I'm like, So my lawnmower now, that's the reason why there was a hurricane in New York, right? Because my lawnmower? That's what I'm supposed to believe? So I just go, you know what, you're right. I'll look into the electric lawnmowers. I'm like, fuck out of here. Leave me alone. Will you please? Will you leave me alone? It's like if I don't cut the grass, nobody does. It's like North Vietnam in my yard if I'm not out there. My other neighbor, he's the artist type, right? This guy does not give a shit about anything. I mean, it's like they're going to find the Lindbergh baby in my neighbor's yard. This fucking guy hasn't cut his grass since like Starsky and Hutch was on regular television. Since Farrah Fawcett was still hot. And he doesn't say shit to me. He doesn't even care. He looks at me like, "Hey, Sal, how are you? Got any cigars? Any good cigars?" I go, "No, not lately." Okay. Thank you. My other neighbors are all the troublemakers. Oh, got to crawl up my ass over some bullshit. Trick-or-treating. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to block off the streets. It's all like a military operation for trick-or-treating. I'm like, look, guys, I got a simple rule. If you're over 15 years old or you don't have a costume, I don't give you candy. That's how it works. Because then you're in the begging category. Because I get fuckers that come to my door, they knock on the door, they go, trick-or-treat. I'm like, where's the costume? Well, I go, well, then what do you want? Trick or treat, you got to have a costume on. That's the whole deal. You got to dress up as something, right? If you're a little kid, you can get away with it because you still crap your pants. But these other jagoffs just want to swindle you out of free Snickers or something.
Yep, we stopped giving out candy because of that.
Right?
Yep,
and the other ones are they're like 20 years old, and they ring the doorbell and they go trick or treat. I go, what the fuck is this? I go, what are you selling Tupperware? What are you doing here with this shit? Really? Trick or treat? I'm like, get out of here. Get off my porch. You got if you're delivering a pizza or something, give it to me. Here's the money. But otherwise, get the fuck out of here. My wife, you should give him candy anyway. I go, listen, I'm not worried. This isn't UNICEF. Get out of here. The Peace. All of a sudden, it's the fucking Peace Corps. I got to give them free candy. Get the fuck out of here. Nobody gives me free candy. I can't even have a lawnmower that uses gasoline, for Christ's sake.
Yep, candy goes to kids with costumes.
That's how you know you're living in the suburbs. That's the garbage too. You guys got all these rules about garbage.
Oh yes.
You can't throw this away. You can't throw that away. I grew up in Chicago my whole life. You could put a dead body by the garbage can and they'll take it. They don't even ask questions. They go, "You want this cut up or just left it alone?" Because if you weigh it down, it'll float real soon. So you might want to weigh it down. No, just take it. Okay. You could leave a car out there. I'm not kidding. I remodeled my mom's kitchen. But by the time you get in the house, they came and took whatever you left out there. Out here in the burbs, my God, it's like anything that's bigger than 3 by 3. I swear to God, you cannot put out there. They won't take it.
That's
They
right.
make a point of not taking it. So what I do is I put it by the neighbors. The guy who busts my balls, I put it over there. Oh, look at me.
I like that.
I don't know who threw that couch out. I put shit out there just to piss him off. I put couches. I put like a love seat out there the other day. The guardsman comes around and goes, "Do you know whose love seat this is?" I don't know. Some jagoff. That is some fucking guy. I don't know what his problem is. Wow. If I find out, I'll let you know. I'm like, asshole. The first word in your job description is garbage. You're supposed to take this shit. You know, what am I going to do? Hurt your feelings? You're a garbage man, for Christ's sake. You fucking guys make more money than cops or firemen, for Christ's sake. But out here, they let him get away with that shit. I'm telling you. It's the Eleanor, the Phil Donahue bullshit all over again.
Yeah, but at least Phil Donahue got Model Tom. That's out of the deal.
Now, wait a minute. Now, did you work Black Friday, or how did that work for you?
Oh, well, actually, I worked Black Thursday into Friday. I worked 5 p.m. Thursday till 4 a.m. Friday, and that was it.
Jeez. Is it a big ordeal with Black Friday for Toys R Us? No.
Well, by the way, let me apologize to you, Shane.
Oh.
For making you come in for Black
That's
Friday.
all right.
But, it actually went pretty smoothly. I mean, I missed the days of the pushing, the shoving, and the gunplay. That's no longer around anymore.
gunplay.
Yeah, the gunplay. I missed that. It's now organized. It was nice and happy for the most part, but
I don't know, man. To me, I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't see what the big ordeal is. We've got so much shit now in this country, and there's so many sales, and everything is cheap now anyway. You know, when you want to buy a phone or a television or whatever the fuck it is, that Christmas is just, it's a clusterfuck here in Chicago. The whole season, when it comes to parking and everywhere you go, and everything is all about, you got to fight with guys over parking spots. You walk out of the store, they follow you. The car follows you. You know what I mean? I mean, literally, you're like to the point where, like, guys, take it easy. Do you really need this shit that bad? Because if you watch the news and during the elections, we were dying. We were starving. The whole country was out of work, and we were eating dog food. I'm like, who are all these jagoffs spending all this money then? Because you see the lines at the store where the people are literally fighting to get in, buy shit. And I'm going, wait a minute. I thought we were in a recession, and I thought we were like nobody had jobs and nobody had money to spend because, every year when I go, you watch like world news, and the guy goes, man, the retailers are reporting a terrible year. It's 180 billion.9 down from 181.6 billion from last year. You go, wait a minute. So in other words, you only sold like, 51,000 units of flat screen instead of 50. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Woodfield Shopping Mall over here in Chicago, which is like Dante's Inferno, okay, on the weekend. You want? I'm telling you, you want to fucking the first place I'd order an airstrike when I'm in charge is Woodfield Shopping Mall. Okay, just roll the napalm in there because you're not gonna kill anybody that's worth anything. Believe me, because they're all jagoffs fighting over a $50 phone instead of a $55 phone. They'll kill you. They'll trample you. They'll eat their own. Fuck, it's like Soylent Green to get a fucking telephone that they're never going to use anyway. Okay. They showed the chopper. They had choppers out there in the morning because they opened the night before at midnight. Okay. And there was not a parking spot to be had within like 5 miles of the mall or some bullshit like that. And then they had the assholes sleeping outside with the tents. And I'm like, who the fuck are these people? And I wouldn't sleep outside with a tent to get laid, If like a young Linda Carter, you know, when Heather Thomas was waiting
hang on
for
a minute.
me, right?
Hang on a minute.
Okay, was waiting for me covered in honey. Okay, but Sal, you got to sleep on the sidewalk. I go, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm too tired. But you see these people sleeping on the sidewalk. I go, what in the fuck are they giving these people that they got to sleep on the sidewalk?
Sleep on the
Or are they
sidewalk.
just void of anything else to do, I guess.
There are people around here with tents and generators for TV while they're waiting.
See what I mean? I don't understand it. No. I mean, listen, I understand it's. I mean, you know, God bless America, but when you watch the news and they talk about how we're literally like, you know, we're hanging on, we're not the country we used to be, and we're hanging on by our fingernails, I'm going, I don't know, man. It's like I was in Italy where the country shuts down 5 hours a day for a siesta so they could take a nap. All right? Literally, we got to stop to take a nap in the middle of the day. And here in America, we still got Home Depot with a whole aisle just for hammers. You know, 24-hour store to sell you nails. We got a whole aisle of just nails. You know, when you go to a hardware store in Italy, the guy goes, nails, huh? What do you need those for? And I'm like, I got to nail something. He goes, well, let me see what I got here. And he pulls out a box. It's fucking, rusted. It's got like writing on it from the Romans, where it's chiseled on there and shit. And I'm going, Jesus Christ, these fuckers don't know what a hardware store is. And I'm not talking the old guy with the ladder. I mean, you go to Home Depot, you want to kill yourself. There's so many fucking different kinds of nails. And it's the same with consumerism. I don't understand it. I'm like, like you were saying, you don't want to bring home shit because you got enough stuff at home now. I'm the same way. I got no more room for any more bullshit. That's why I tell people, this is another reason I hate Christmas. Can I tell you why I hate Christmas?
Certainly.
Sure. I never get anything I ask for. All right? And Jamie, does this happen to you?
Oh, yeah.
Because Jamie's not listening anymore. He's sleeping. Probably.
Oh no, I've been looking at Facebook for the last 10 minutes.
Jamie, I ask very specifically.
Uh-huh.
I don't throw hints. I don't say maybe because everybody in my family either doesn't give a shit or they go, this asshole doesn't need anything. So I write it all down. Hey, this is what I need. These three things. No superhero shit is at the top of the list. Don't think, I know what he likes and buy me a Thor tie. No. I don't need any of that shit. I got enough of that shit. And if I was going to buy it, I was going to already buy it. Okay? Don't buy me any statues because my son's just going to break them. Right? Don't buy me any comics. Don't buy me shit. And every time I ask, I never get anything that I fucking ask for. But in this country, we've got so much shit. I mean, we've got so much excess that I just don't see these jagoffs on television with Black Friday, what is it, Cyber Saturday, whatever the fuck it is, and I just don't understand it, man. I mean, last year I asked for shit, and my wife puts me on, she gives me rain checks. She goes, well, your birthday's coming up. What we'll do is we'll combine.
Oh, never trust to
like
combine.
I'm a kid, right? Like I'm a child. I go, all right, how about no Christmas present, but you don't bust my balls when I go to Seattle? How about that? Can I have that in exchange? Because it's bad enough I got to put up with fucking that Greek who runs the Emerald Town. Fucking drives me crazy. Every year I get in a fight with Jim over my table. Sal, you wanted a table? I didn't know you wanted a table, so I didn't put you down for a table. I go, listen, jag off, okay? I know Greece is not a world power, okay? You fuckers, unless you're running a coffee shop, don't listen anymore, all right? So don't give me that bullshit about how you invented philosophy and all that bullshit, because that was a long fucking time ago, all right? That was when we were still wiping our ass with our bare hand. That was a long time ago, all right? I tell you every year I want a table. A year. I've been doing this since it was two assholes in a parking lot drinking coffee. All right? When it was Starbucks, it was just one of them. There wasn't multiple Starbucks. It was just the mermaid was a virgin on the sign. Okay? But yet this prick every year. Sal, you're coming to. Yeah, I didn't know you were coming to Seattle. I'm on the website, fuckhead. How do you not have a table for me? Oh, well, that's from last year. I'm like, oh, look at this. Every fucking year. I go, Jim. I'm with the A's, okay? My last name starts with an A. I should be at the top of the list of people you fuck over, all right? But I'm never. I'm always at the end. So whoever's in my table right now, I'm telling them to move. I'm just going to blame it on you. I'm going to be like in high school in the cafeteria. Hey, asshole, get out of here. I guy who's painting belt buckles or a piece of a tree or all that hippie bullshit. The guy about the book about Sasquatch or Bigfoot. Fuck out of here. Get out. Get out. Move. So I'm blaming it on Jim. I say, Jim fucked up. Jim told me to come over and tell you that he fucked up your table. Sal, then you make me look like an asshole. You are an asshole. What do you mean? Every year I show up on my own dime now. He doesn't give me shit, Jim. I mean, Jim, you know, this fucking guy steals apples and asks for change, this cocksucker, right? He shows up. Every year I show up to Seattle on my own dime. My own hotel room, my own. He doesn't give me a shit. He won't even give me directions. If he asks for a map, hey, Jim, I have a map of the show. Oh, those are $1.50, Sal. Can I have a lanyard for my... Oh, those are $1.50, too, Sal. But if you bring Alex, you get a free lanyard. So I go, Jim, listen, I've been doing this show since, Pants was still, watching porn, at home with the video player, where he had to fast-forward manually and not watch it online. Okay, that's how long it's been. Okay? Since Peter was still living in Puerto Rico, he was still with a donkey on the corner with the little box turning into a grinder. Now, that's how long I've been doing this fucking show. And you break my balls every fucking year. The same with the Reed guys at C2E2. They break my balls every fucking year. I mean, I show up and they're like, I wish you would have told us you were coming. Guys, what do I got to do? I mean, because the minute that I don't bring Sienkiewicz or bring, Alex, different story. You get a whole different level of treatment. A whole different level of bullshit.
Oh,
so don't think that, I don't remember anybody's names, and when you guys don't have me on for a year, don't think I don't. Listen, don't give me this bullshit. It's been, because Pants had to look it up. He's like, I think it was June. I'm not sure. Right now, if I named 5 guys, you could tell me exactly when they've been on. Oh, that was a couple of weeks ago. Oh, that other guy? Oh, yeah, that was a month ago. And, that was the guy that Jamie had a bet with. Yeah, he was on. And then the other guy. But with Sal, you're like, oh, fuck. I can't remember when we had that asshole on. But listen, have him on because I got to see him again probably soon, and I don't want to have him breaking my balls about everything, man.
Well, now let me mention on the air so everybody can get on record, we are having our own little convention again in Reading next year, and, you're absolutely invited, so I don't want to hear, they don't love me.
When is it? No, nobody invited. When is it again this year? Now, you guys changed it, right? A little
April
bit.
6th and 7th?
Yeah, April 6th and 7th.
Oh, yeah. No, wait a minute. Was it always in April, or was it sooner in the year? I can't remember.
We had it in May.
It was in May. It was in September.
But yeah, it's in
April.
April.
It was in March, too.
Because I don't have anything in the spring other than Seattle. I don't really do a lot of... I can only do, one a month. Because I just don't do multiple shows, and I just can't anymore. It's just too much traveling, and I gotta help my wife with the kids, and it's just too much bullshit now at home to just go play cut and fuck with these guys at shows.
If you'd answer your emails that I send to you, saying, "Hey,
Jamie,
would you like to be there?"
Listen to this fucking guy. This is what I love about this.
I say,
when have you ever sent me? When have you ever sent me an email that I've never answered right away?
The one I recently sent with you, where I was busting your balls about calling us out on freaking Facebook, and then I said, of course we love you. We're going to have you on, and I said, by the way, we're going to have this. We want you to think about. We'd love to have you out, and then nothing. It was like freaking crickets.
No, because that was when I was going to Italy.
Wow.
So there's no email in Italy.
That's right.
No, and I answered. Listen, how long do we fucking know each other, right?
I
get these jagoffs coming up to me and they're like, Sal, why are you being such a jagoff? How come you're not on Geek Speak anymore? I go, how the fuck do I know? It's not my show. Brian, when I see Brian, Jesus Christ, he really gives me the shit when I see Brian. Brian comes up and he's always whispering whenever he talks to me. I said, oh, Brian, listen. He looks around. And Sal, listen, I know you haven't been on the show in a while, but like he's going to tell me that I got the clap or something. Like he's like, we're going to have to pop one of these blisters. We're going to have to sample and put it under a microscope, right? So I go, listen, Jagoff, I told you before, if you want me on, You don't want me on. It's fine. It's like occasionally it's in my nature to break your balls. You know, if a year goes by and I see Tiziano's been on 4 times to talk about his dog and to talk about his shop, to talk about him back in men's clothes and all the rest of the shit, you know, that he brags to me. He literally brags to me. He goes, you know, I was on Geek Speak again. What did you think of it? Did you listen to it? I go, are you out of your fucking mind? I don't listen to you when you're on the phone. Why would I listen to you when you're on the show? You know? So he's like, he heard I was coming on now, and he's like, are you going to talk shit about me? I go, no, I'm serious. And I go, I don't talk about shit. They want to know about serious shit when I'm on there. They don't want me to go off on just bullshit, you know? Because on Facebook, let me tell you something. For as many jagoffs as like the whole, you know, Sal bullshit, there's a lot of them that give me the old, oh, Sal, I just can't take it. It's just, you know, you really offend people with that. And I'm like, well, I don't understand what I say. Because you want to talk serious, I can talk about anything you want. But usually, like I said before, I've heard some of these guys you interview. You know what started it for me? The very first time Peter asked me to be on his show. It was an advertising thing. He wanted, you guys were looking for sponsors. This is a million fucking years ago.
Uh-huh.
This is back when, you know, Jamie wore short pants.
That's a long time.
Okay? And he said, "Hey, you know, we're starting up this thing. We're looking for, you know." So I was doing Atomica. So I said, "Yeah, you know, sure, no problem." So we did it, and you guys had me on for like 15 minutes or whatever. I forget what it was. Back before I fucking pontificated your whole show away from
It's
you.
an entire fucking episode.
Listen, some people have sensitive feelings, Jamie. You know. You hurt my feelings. You know, it's better. I get enough shit around here. I don't need to get it from you guys too. You know.
Okay, come on, Fredo. Let's go.
No, at least in person, you're nice to me. You know. I know on the show I can hear you guys rolling your fucking eyes now. But I said, yeah, sure. And you guys had Paul Pope on. All right. And I listened to this fucking guy go on and on and on about how his work symbolized the crying child within him, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Is this guy fucking kidding me? I mean, I'm like, what's he talking about? I mean, every artist, if you let him, you know, you get him a little high, you know, or back when Quaaludes were still legal and they still made them, they want to go on and on and on what their work symbolized. But in the end, guys don't want to hear that shit. I mean, yeah, I could talk all day if you want to talk about, you know, art or this or theories and all that. But in the end, I've met everybody at shows, all right? And beneath it all, yes, we all have the same thing in common. We all watch porn. You know, we all love comics more than anything else. This is our thing. And we don't apologize for it. We don't make excuses for it. Anybody who insults it, you know, with this geek and this nerd shit, I won't tolerate for 10 seconds. But we're all just a bunch of swinging dicks. You know, we're all guys who like to bullshit around, and we're the guys in high school that palled around together and made fun of everybody and liked to, you know, we weren't the guys who wore the ascot and had the pencil holder and sat in the corner, and covered his mouth when he laughed, and, you know, Little Lord Fauntleroy. So I hear some of these fucking guys you have on your show, and they're like fucking Little Lord Fauntleroy. You know, like, oh, well, actually the red I used was symbolic for... I don't really want to talk about it, Jamie, because it upsets me. You know, and you're like, I want to throw up. I want to throw up. I'm like, so in the end, I thought, I can't do that shit. I can't do it. You know, tell the truth. You know, that's the problem when you guys have why guys that work for Marvel and guys that work for DC are usually such horrible interviews. Because these guys told the company line. They can't tell you the truth. They can't tell you what sucks about working at Marvel or what sucks at working at DC or what they really think of 52. I can tell you what they really tell me about 52. They think it's a fucking joke most of the time, the new stuff, this new 52 variant thing they're doing. They think it's fucking ridiculous, but they work for the company, so rightfully so, they can't tell you, hey, it sucks. But I can, because what are they going to do to me? You know? What are they going to do to me that they haven't already done? What, are they going to fire me? What, are they not going to talk to me? They don't talk to me now. Who fucking cares? One less jag off, that a con that doesn't bother me. And if they want to say, hey, you said that you thought that fucking that comic we did of Jar Jar Binks getting fucked in the ass by a elongated man was bad. Why did you say that? Because it was. Because it sucked. Call an ace an ace that you hire foreigners because they're cheap. It's because you do, you know. And how many? And the reason you say it is because the people that I talk to, at least the guys that listen to this show, come up to me and they tell me that. They say, hey, at least you're not afraid to say this. You're not afraid to say, yeah, I'm not trying to offend anybody. Because I like everybody in comics. Most of the guys I know work in the business are great guys. Don't get me wrong, except Tiziano. But, but in the end, I've met you guys, and you're all jagoffs. Like me. So that's why I got to talk to you like the way I would talk to my family. When I talk to my brother on the phone, we don't talk about quiche, or where he buys fucking, where he buys his sparkling water at or whatever. We talk about bullshit,
At least you have TV shows that you'll be able to talk to him about quiche and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, not for long. Because since I started talking tonight, about maybe 15 fucking shows been deleted. Sunday is when football's on, so you record this, you record that, edit, it's gone, man.
Delete.
Episode 74, November 2005. We had Sal on for like 15 minutes. How can you have him on for 15
was that
minutes?
It? I swear to God, it was. I thought
it was the end of the show for about 15 minutes. He's right.
Oh. I remember reading Atomica, and I remember kissing his ass. It was good. I wasn't bullshitting.
Back when people actually liked me. You know what I mean? No, it's not. No, listen, it's not. It's like for the most part, 99 times out of 100, I don't do the podcast thing because out of a weird sense of loyalty to you guys, because I have a good time with you guys, and a lot of these other guys, it's just not, come on, you know better than anybody how many of these guys have come and gone. It's just kind of the fad is over, and whoever's left is left. It's kind of like the survival of the fittest. But 99 times out of 100, the guys you got that listen to your show are always cool guys. They're always super nice to me. They come up to me, they've never heard of Atomica. Never. They're like, I don't. My store doesn't buy it. I've never heard of it. But I heard you on the show talking about cocks, and I'm curious about Atomica, so they buy it. I'm not kidding. And I don't mean like, an occasional guy here or there. It's a little weird when I'm doing my shtick with, the Alex Ross thing, and then people come up to me and they're like, hey, you're the guy that talked about, balloon knots and finger banging.
Cincinnati bow ties.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you were talking about Buster Hyman and all the rest of that shit. And that's a different gear. That's when you're sitting around bullshitting and getting drunk and, and fucking around. And then, but, you got different people. But to my horror, my sister calls me up and she goes, yeah, I heard you on that podcast thing you did. And my sister Marie is like the nicest, sweetest person you'd ever meet in the world, right? And I was mortified. I go, oh, fuck, what did I say? I know it was probably real bad. It was probably horrible, but it's like, you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to listen to that stuff, man, That's how guys talk when guys get together, I tell my wife the same thing. I go, that's how guys talk. It's like, you talk? You mean really? You two? I'm like, of course. The guy I am at home. I'm not going to talk like that in front of the kids. Everything is F this or F that, or you got to put letters in place of,
Yeah.
I don't even talk anymore.
If you didn't come on the show, bust our balls, and do all this bullshit, I'd think something was wrong.
Well, I don't know. I think that in the end, it's like you gotta. It's important. It's important in life to break each other's balls and laugh at yourself and not take the shit so seriously. There's nothing wrong with taking it seriously. If you guys didn't take the shit seriously, you wouldn't be around as long as you have. And the same with like I said, that's what we all have in common. In the end, it's like Cosa Nostra, man. Comics is like our thing. I take this shit very seriously, and we love it, and we don't apologize for it. But you can also, break each other's balls. It doesn't always. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a super serious guy on a show where some guys break my balls. Well, Sal, how come we're not serious on there? Why don't you talk about it? I'm like, what do you want to talk about? What? Want to talk about sewing? You want to talk about the mats, crocheting? What do you want to talk about? What? Talk about shitting? You know. Talk about, I'm in a good cycle right now. I don't want to talk about shitting.
One thing I do want you to talk about, and it's because I absolutely love, being a friend of yours on Facebook. You constantly show pictures of your kids, and your little girl just constantly breaks me up with the pictures, especially the last one. I think it was maybe 2 days ago when you had, I said, you put like Thanksgiving drama, and you had her on her knees, and she was all crying because it reminds me of my nephew. How's life as daddy of a little girl going?
She's like William Dafoe in Platoon. On the movie poster. That's the first one I saw, where she literally, when she doesn't get her way, she falls to her knees and throws her hands up in the sky. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, it is like the most fucking drama you could possibly have from a kid. This kid, like, you'd swear that it's always something out of Shakespeare. I mean, it's for me. I got married late. I didn't get married till I was 40. So for me, it was like I still feel like I'm living somebody else's life. It's very, very strange to have two little kids. It really is. I'm not used to it. I do the best I can. I usually don't talk a lot because I don't know what to say because, now it's a different world now, man. With the timeout and the this and there's the whole, that now they go to different, they go to Montessori school or my kids learn the second language. I don't know anything about this shit, Jamie. I'm like the guy who's like, they hand a foreign car to him and tell him to fix it. You're the guy on the corner working in a garage, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I mean, my daughter is like, I just let her get away with whatever. She lights shit on fire. I go, yeah, go ahead. I don't know. When the fire department comes, they'll put it out, And my wife's like, oh, you shouldn't this, you shouldn't that. I go, I don't even know what the fuck's going on around here half the time. I mean, these kids, the shit that they get into. But I use me and my brothers as a barometer. The shit that my kids do compared to the shit that we were doing is nothing. It's kid stuff. It's so light. I tell Karen, I go, you wouldn't believe the shit me and my brothers used to do. Light shit on fire and climbing out windows and jumping into the neighbors, on a roof and playing roof tag and stealing cars. The shit we used to do. Stealing cars and jumping roof to roof to get out of the house, to go get a fucking hot pastrami at 2 in the morning. The shit we used to do. Let's climb down into the sewers. I mean, stuff that you're like, what? We used to ride on top of the L cars. I mean, it was unbelievable the shit we would do. And my kids, it's like, well, she took a second chocolate. She really shouldn't have 2 pieces of chocolate. So she needs to be. You need to sit her down and talk to her. I go, listen, she's 2 years old. Give her the chocolate. I don't want to. It's either let her have the chocolate or 3 hours of crying during the Bear game.
During the Bear game, yes.
During the Bear game. So I go, look, I'm not Henry Kissinger here with all this piece shit. But if a little Hershey's Kiss is enough to bribe her for 3 hours, that's upside, man. That's great. There you go. Because I know when she's 16, it's going to be go fuck yourself. It's going to be she's coming home with jagoffs like me, and then I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to sit on the porch with a shotgun and a shovel, and a bag of lime, and I'm going to tell the guy, hey, listen, jagoff. They're going to find your ass by the airport in the trunk of a car when they smell something. This kid doesn't come back. I'm telling you right now. My son is the opposite end. My daughter, I guarantee you, is going to be a cage fighter by the time she's 12. All right. My son, the opposite. The nicest, sweetest little kid, exact opposite of me. He's like all nice, and he likes animals, and he's all into schoolwork, and he's the smartest kid. And I just get out of the way. I go, I'm not fucking this up. I'm like, if he's going to be that kid that plays the violin with his toes and all that shit, go right ahead. Because he's in Japanese Montessori school where everything is all, you got to take apart radios and put them back together, blindfolded, and all that crazy Japanese shit, right? But I get out of the way. He brings home papers and shit that he did fractions. Who the fuck learns fractions at 5? I still don't know fractions. All right? He brings shit home. I go, what in the fuck are they teaching these kids? Decimal points. And he corrects me sometimes when I say shit. I go, look at this shit. My God. But, that's the world they live in, man. It's going to be a different world, that they grew up in than the shit that I knew. I went to public schools where you needed a pen to get a fucking diploma in my high school, you know, and it was just one of those things that I'm not going to be one of those jagoffs like Abe Lincoln, you know, where I walked a mile in the snow, you know. I grew up a jagoff, so you got to grow up a jagoff? No. They got all this bullshit, and he's got an iPad, and I'm like, let him have it. Just give it to him. I don't give a shit. If he wants to be, I'm hoping he's one of them kids that aspires to be 10 times smarter and do all that stuff. And I got no problem with it. You know, as long as he doesn't leave me sitting in my own shit when I'm an old guy. Because I told my wife, I go, listen, when we get to a certain age, these fucking kids once they get their own, you know, identity, it's all over, man. It's done. You don't want to hang with your parents anymore. You know, I'm going to be that dad that my kids are embarrassed by. Oh, guys, my father's coming to visit. He tells a lot of stories. And, he talks about shitting a lot. So, here he comes. You know, and they're going to treat me like that. He smokes cigars, and he's got one of those old lawnmowers. You know, but she's like I said, she's absolutely it just, I don't know what to do with it. I really don't know what to do with the lifestyle that these kids have provided me. And it's so nice, and they're so sweet, and they're so innocent that I have a hard time being a jagoff when they're around. The rest of the time, I go into a jagoff mode. But,
well, I just wanted to give Matt a little bit of what he's going to be in for.
Yeah.
In another 6 months or so.
Yeah, you know, the first year is kind of like, you know, it's all the same. It's baby, baby, baby. Everything is the baby, the baby, the baby. You know, you're really no different. You're like, what the fuck is the big deal here? It's just like, you know, it's like having a drunk person in your house all the time. They scream, holler, throw up, shit their pants, break shit, touch everything, wake you up in the middle of the night. My daughter turns into a fire engine. You know, she pisses on everything and screams at the way on. You know, that kind of bullshit, right?
Yeah,
no different. But then when they get to be about, when my daughter turned like 2, you know, then it's on, because then their personality starts. They start putting, and girls are way ahead of the curve than boys. Girls, my God, at 2 years old, they're putting words together. I mean, they do shit like arch criminals figure out. You see them in the corner writing shit on the wall with a crayon, and it's like a formula for like rocket fuel and shit like that. You go, what the fuck? You know, how to dig their way out. You see diagrams of tunnels and shit, and they make little carts to tie onto the cat to have them pull the dirt outside. You know, crazy shit. You know. Boys, everything is about validation. Everything they do, it's look at me kind of shit. Where they gotta look at the shit before they flush the toilet. That's little boys. You know, look at the shit. Look. I'm like, yeah. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, flush it. I see it. You know, because it's always... And then when you finally lose it, they start crying. You know? They hit you on top of the head with a hammer, it's funny. But if you raise your voice, they start crying. You know? You'll get kicked in the balls more than you have the first 20 years of your life. That's the other part. I mean, your testicles, one will be like 3 feet away from each other. They will be separated in a way they've never been separated. And your testicles will write you a letter and go, what in the fuck is going on in your house that you let your kid jump off of a dresser on top of us? Because you didn't see it coming. You were sleeping. One time my son jumped off the dresser and laid it right on my balls. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I wept. I openly wept. Like a lion with his foot in a trap, where you could hear it across the Serengeti, where you hear the scream. You go, what the fuck was that? You know, you go, that was me weeping out loud. And I told my wife, I go, just get away from me. Just get away. I don't know what to say to you about how it hurts right now. My soul was pierced. It hurt me so bad. I am not kidding. Not like your average, ooh, fuck, what was that? You know, you put your hand on your nuts. No. I'm talking like you don't even bend over because your nuts, you feel nothing. Your nuts haven't called you yet. Your nuts are on the phone going, I got him on the phone. Hang on a second. Let me see. It's ringing. And then when your nuts call you, you go, holy fuck. They're throbbing literally like you put them in one of those wood chippers. That's what it felt. And my wife's like, well, what did he do? What's the big deal? I go, what's the big deal? And it happens all the time. You know, they slam your shit in the door. You'll be driving, you'll get hit in the back of the head with a truck.
Truck, ball.
Yeah. My son tells me how to drive. That's my other favorite part. What are you going this way for? Why are you going over here? Well, you never go this way. You're supposed to go the other way. Hey, listen, Rand McNally, look out the fucking window, will you please? He turns into Jason Bourne. You know, well, if you go the other way, it's faster. And then there's a way in through the alley that way. You go up the alley. Go up the alley. What are you doing? What are you doing? No! He said to me the other day. I look back, I go, hey, listen. You don't even have pubes yet, okay? Okay? When you've got pubes, you could talk to me. All right? Until then, look out the window. That's all I tell them. Look out the window. No, you shouldn't. And then they got all these rules at school now. That's the other thing. You can't say stupid. You can't say shut up. You can't say. They've got a list of all these words that you can't say. I go, holy shit. I can't say stupid. I can't. So every time he hears it on TV, he goes, hey, they said stupid on TV. I'm like, oh, God. Fuck. What are we watching? What is that, Goodfellas? What do we got on? It's war. It's stupid. You know, it was probably me. Because my wife had the fucking jada on or whatever, with her cleavage showing. You know, or a piece of celery when it goes in her cleavage. You know.
Oh, Sal, I'm laughing because I've lived it.
No, the kid. Like I said, at 2. Now, do you know what you're having, or you don't know yet?
Matt,
did you have the kid?
No, we won't find out till potentially the 13th is when we'd be far enough along. It all depends on what shows up in the ultrasound.
Well, now they don't have to tell you.
No,
there's a way to do it. Which we did it with our second kid, which is, you know, you look like you're the big fucking romantic, okay, if you do it this way. Not that, you know, if she's 9 months along, the kitchen's probably closed anyway. How it was with me when they talk about, oh, my God, they're hormones. And I'm like, guys, no, I can wait. I don't fuck up my kid for the rest of his life because, you know, I decided I had to, you know, one last time before she had him. No. I want my kid having dreams of a giant penis or whatever the fuck it is, you know, hit him in the head or some bullshit. No, I don't need that. Comes out with a dented head or some shit. Maniac. Gotta have, you know. Because I was like, are you guys fucking kidding me? You know, they can know what it is, and they write it on a piece of paper, and then you guys could go out and you could find out just the two of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She doesn't have to blurt it out because they could tell. Sometimes they can't always tell 100%, but then sometimes they can tell 100%. So, you know, they could still, they're really just, with the ultrasound stuff, they're looking for stuff that's dangerous or not dangerous. So they could find out, write it on a piece of paper, you go out to dinner, and, you know, you look like you're fucking, you know, Ricardo Montalban.
we want to find out what it is so we can prepare the nursery.
No. You do it that night or that day, you know, or that, you know, that evening. You know, I'm not saying you wait because I know people, that they don't want to know. But no, I wanted to know because you want to prepare shit.
Yeah.
You want to buy either the big Jim with the Kung Fu grip, or you want to buy the strawberry shortcake or whatever the fuck it is. You know, because women, trust me, no matter what it is. Here's the downside of women: no matter what they say, no matter what they tell you, they want girls. They're always going to bluff. They're going to say, oh, it doesn't matter as long as it's healthy. That's true. But if push came to shove, they want girls because they let to dress them up and they put the little hair, you know, the barrettes and all the bullshit, and they get to dress them up and, you know, the pink and all that stuff. Boys, it's easy. You just buy them, you know, I buy them a hammer and nails, and a saw, and, you know, I get them a helmet, you know, and I wear a cup.
Yeah.
And I get the fuck out of the way. But, you know. But no, I'm just saying they can write it on a piece of paper for you if you want. You look all sensitive and shit when you do that.
It's funny. Everyone in our family seems to want to know, except for my father and my sister. But my wife said if it's a boy, we're going to do the nursery one way. If it's a girl, it's going to be another way. So anytime they'd come over to the house, without us actually saying what it is, they would probably get the idea of what it is.
Well, don't fall prey to a lot of the bullshit when you have a kid, because there's so much stuff at the store that they talk you into, which is just total bullshit. You know, you don't need an expensive stroller. You don't need a lot of stuff, because the first year, a lot of that stuff, you're never even going to crack into half of that stuff. They grow so fast that most of those clothes that you get, like I had somebody that gave me a suit. Right? Tie, shirt, vest, jacket, pants for a 1-year-old. I go, what is he? What is he working the ascot room at the Holiday Inn this weekend, singing with pants? Mel Torme tunes. I said, what in the fuck am I going to do with this? Because a lot of the shit that when you give it away, because there's always this cycle of clothes that everybody, gives to everybody. There's like this mafia that pulls up in a van, and they're like, hey, you having a kid? You are? Here, take all this shit. Just dump it all. Because most of it you cannot wait to get rid of, because it fills your house with shit. Cars and, and those Fisher-Price things and those bumpers and shit that makes noise. It's all these toys now are built to scare the fuck out of you, because they're all, like, motion censored. Well, you'll walk by one of these fuckers at 3 a.m. while you're going to take a shit, and it goes off, and it scares the fuck out of you. Because the rabbit starts talking and turning around, and it turns into a fucking John Carpenter movie right there in your hallway.
My wife's been looking online. She's like, we need to get a rocking chair. I said, we need a specific rocking chair. We can't use a rocking chair right now. No, we need one for the nursery. The other thing is a changing table.
No. That's called a nursing chair.
Yeah. The other thing is the changing table. I was like, well, can't we just get, like, I don't know, a card table and like a small set of containers? No, it's got to be something special.
Seatbelt on it.
And she goes, well, I found some at Target. Do you want to look at them? I said, are you happy with them? Yes. I said, that's good enough for me. I don't even need to look at them.
No, you don't. I don't even. You go to Babies R Us. That place. That's sickness at at level 5.
They rape you there with their prices.
That's THX 5000. That's like George Lucas's first movie when you go to fucking Babies R Us. That's a fucked up place. Let me tell you, because they got strollers that go from $50 up to $600. Yep. I mean, Pants knows from Toys R Us.
Oh yeah.
What kind of a racket all that shit is. I mean, and half of the shit, and then when your second kid comes around, if you have a second one, then you really treat them like, my second kid, you treat them like the grapes of wrath. You don't even give a shit. You're like, hey, he's good enough. There.
That's absolutely true.
Tape it up. It's fine. Shopping cart. I put a shopping cart, and I break the back of a chair off, and I put it in there with a couple of pillows, and you go, here's your stroller. Yeah, will you? Will you just fucking get in, please, and stop complaining? And my wife, everything's got to be the car seat. Every 6 months, they want you to buy a new car seat. And you're like, guys, these car seats, they're like space capsules now. These car seats, they got triple harnesses, and I'm like, what is this? What is she, Scott Glenn? Where the fuck is this kid going? I live in Chicago. We can't go faster than 20 miles an hour anyway. Where the fuck is this kid going if she needs all these harnesses? I'm going to go right through the window, but the kid's going to be fine. They got to sit backwards. There's all this sickness going on, and just don't buy into it. And you're going to find a lot of people are going to try to unload shit on you. Just take it all. There's so much shit they're going to try to unload that it's unbelievable. Bags and bags of shit. I'm not kidding. My wife's girlfriend, a van pulled up one day, and your first reaction is, "Oh my God, how nice!" And then after about a month, you go, "No wonder these fuckers got rid of all this shit." No wonder. No wonder these jagoffs. It's like the relative that doesn't want to go home.
Matt, we have a bag started for you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. My mother-in-law my in-laws were out over the holiday, and my mother-in-law was asking us if we're going to do Lamaze class, which I guess you have to pay for now. And I said, there, we just saved some money. How much more do you need to know?
Lamaze. I told my wife, she goes, we go to Le Mans. I go, I had a Le Mans in high school. I had a 72 Le Mans. Black one. It's a piece of shit. I don't want another Le Mans. She goes, no, Lamaze. I go, yeah, I had one. Pontiac. It's a piece of shit. So we go to this fucking class, all right, which is the biggest piece of propaganda bullshit you've ever been involved in your life. You know why? Because when your wife gives birth to that kid, they have what's called birthing nurses. And these broads know their shit. I mean, these are it's like a MASH unit. Yep. They slap you and push you out of the way. Like, get out of here. Get out of here, asshole. Get out of here. That breathing shit. Get away from here. And they shove you aside, and these are professional birth nurses, and there's nothing you learn in Lamaze that's used. Nothing. You hold your wife's hand, she gives you the finger, tells you get the fuck out of here. Yeah. And I mean, I was like, honey, are you okay? Do you want it? And she looked at me like, get out of here. Will you get out of here? Will you please go? So I stood in the waiting room, and I was trying to get the cup to fall, on the coffee thing. I'm banging the thing and kicking it. and the last thing of Skittles. You know, I had that, and I slept on the couch. And I woke up and someone stole my shoes. It was like a corduroy couch. You wake up with the corduroy, you know, like pattern on your face. You know, and I was like, what happened to those, like, 72 hours of Lamaze shit we took? How to breathe, how to be, you know, patient, and you got to bring a pillow. And if you're going to do, you know, are you guys going to do the drugs or no drugs?
I don't know what she's going to do yet. Probably drugs.
Well, sometimes you don't have a choice. If you get there and it's a hurry, then you're not going to have a choice. And my second kid, there was no time for the epidural and all that shit. You just, boom, you're having a kid. You're having it right now. It's like an after-school special where you're, you know, kids laying on the floor. All of a sudden, you go, what the fuck is that? Somebody walking their dog? And it's like a kid laying on the floor, biting you on the leg. My daughter was biting me on the leg, like, hey, asshole, go get a gyros. You know, my son was all fucking traumatic. Laurence Olivier took him 9 hours. He had to have a soliloquy and certain lights and incense and shit. It was like, you know, come on, let's go already, will you? You know, I want to get out of here and I want to go jump on a hot beef or something, will you? But if you're going to do the hospital and you got it all organized, trust me, that Lamaze stuff it's nice, but you're not going to need it. I mean, at least I didn't need it. You know, those labor nurses, man, they know their shit. Those are professional, you know, people, and they want to get your wife through it as quickly as possible. And I felt like I was in the way. I mean, they're like, will you get out of here? Who's this guy? Who is this? This guy talking about Luke Cage. Who is this guy? Get out of here. You know? I was like, let me go call Jamie. See what Jamie's up to.
Well, I'm going to ask for the Jamie D. wing when we go to the hospital. But
yeah, let me tell you something else, though, man. All that shit on television, oh, it's a beautiful thing. We're going to, like, my brother was like, oh, you got to videotape it, and I want to play fucking Stanley Kubrick and all that bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. That is one scary sight, man. You want to get out of there. You want like, whoa! All right, I'm staying up here by the cheap seats. I ain't going anywhere near that shit because they got lights like they use in center field at fucking Comiskey Park that they set up. This shit comes out like Transformers when she's gonna have the baby. They pull out all this special equipment and all this. And the doctor comes in, I swear to God, he looks like a fucking welder. He looks like a deep-sea welder. He's got big masks on, and he's got gloves and big aprons that are made out of suede, and he's got a blowtorch, and he's got, you know, it's like, what the fuck? He looks like Brainiac on the old Superman series, you know.
I found out... go ahead.
No, you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't want to ruin it for you.
Thanks. I found out the hospital that we're going to be going to when it's time. They make you sign off on some things, like you have to sign off that you're not going to sleep in the same bed with, like you can't have the baby sleep in the bed with you. If there's someone that smokes, they can't smoke around the baby. They have to change their shirt before they actually do anything with the baby. They have to do something else with car seats. I'm just surprised that you have to sign off on this.
Even like 8 years, that stuff's all changed.
No,
compared to when I had mine.
Are you kidding? It's worse now. I mean, they've got it where they wouldn't let me in to pick my wife up. You know, you got to have 3 forms of ID. You got to know the code at the door. I go, listen, you guys don't want to let me in. Fine, I'll leave. See you later. You know, you got to have a certain kind of seat. Yeah. Oh, they got all kinds of rules and shit. And you got to, you know, you can't stay here. They make the wife stay overnight, and you got to have this, and they give the kid all kinds of tests, and you got to get the blood test, and they got, oh man, it's like Jesus Christ. It's like all this shit. But you know, some people they do the shit at home. You know, I got relatives where they did the shit at home. I mean, no fucking way am I doing that. I was like, my second kid, I was driving like Starsky and Hutch to get to the hospital. I'm not kidding. It was 3 a.m, and she woke me up and she said, I'm having a baby right now, like right the second. So I put her in the car and I said, let's go. And it was, you know, 3 a.m, and I just was popping red lights all the way there. You know, do the Puerto Rican shit. You look both ways, you keep going. Pulled into the hospital, and I woke up the guard. He was sleeping, and with not even 20 minutes of walking in the door, boom, had the kid. Other kids, shit, hours, man. It could go on for hours and hours. It could go on forever.
When we had our first one, we read up on all the Lamaze stuff. We took the classes like you're talking about, and we did all that stuff. Thought we were prepared. Ended up having a minor complication, had a C-section. Never read up on that. My wife never had an operation in her life. Was panicked to high heaven, scared to death. All this shit's going on. Total wasted of all that time
Yeah.
and money on Lamaze. Never needed it.
Well, and even if when they have regular, it's like I said, all that stuff they're teaching you, that's like stuff, it's good to know, but I'm telling you, 99 times out of 100, it's not needed.
Yep.
You're basically, you just got to be there to keep her calm, but that shit don't work. There's two ways. She's either like Linda Blair in The Exorcist, which is when she doesn't have the drugs, or when she's got the drugs, she's everything's fine. She's mellow. Everything's cool. It's just, hey, push. Okay. All right. Hey, guys, I'm going to go down and I'm going to fucking jump on a fucking... I seen a bag of Ruffles in there that looked like it was the ones with the cheddar, not the sour cream. So I'll be back in a half an hour. Or when they don't have the drugs, and then it's game on. Then it's holy shit. Then it's like the screaming, the hollering, the name-calling, they're throwing shit at you. It can get pretty, it gets pretty loopy in there.
Well, I'm a little concerned, about different things, but a couple days after we got engaged a couple years ago, she was cutting a bagel that wasn't pre-sliced and cut her hand. And when she called me down to take a look at it, I saw that it was deep enough. I was going to need to take her to the hospital. And she just was like panicking. So I took her to the hospital. We were in an emergency room. We get in there and they're cleaning it up and she's okay. And they start getting ready to stitch. And she's like, I can't look at this. And she had to look away. She couldn't stand it. So now I'm thinking, what's it going to be like when when she's in the middle of giving labor? What type of attitude is she going to be?
Let me tell you something, man. There's nothing. Anybody, your relatives or me or anybody that can tell you to get ready for it. That's all I can tell you. You do the best you can. You realize that in the end, you do the best you can. You're not going to be perfect. Our parents weren't perfect, but in the end, you discover your parents did the best they could with what they had. Patience is just the most important thing. You just got to keep reminding yourself they're little kids, which is tough sometimes because
I think
it's an enormous drain on your time, on your own personal time. That shit's all out the window, man. You don't have any. That's the hardest thing for me. As an artist, is I have to give up a lot of time that I used to just sit and draw, and you can't now. You just because you got kids.
I know my biggest fear before this, well, even still now at some point, is how it always seemed. I remember growing up, and my dad always seemed to, or both my parents had the right answer. They always did the right thing. But now looking back, is that just because that's what I thought that they did? I'm sure they made mistakes, and there's a learning curve. And then the more I think about it, on the weekend, if there's a movie I want to see, I know, matinees at this time, I could just go. Well, if my wife's working and I'm watching our kid, I can't just say, you wait here, I'll be back in 2 hours.
Yeah.
No, those days are over, man. To pick up the keys and walk out the door, shit. I wish. I mean, everybody's always like, hey, what'd you think of? And they name a movie. I'm like, guys, for me to go to the show is like the first year, again, is not so bad because you could still find babysitters because the kid sleeps. Yeah. The kid's like pants. It sleeps most of the time. That's all it does.
That's true.
Shits its pants, spits up, and sleeps all day.
Wants to be cleaned up.
But once you got to watch them, then it's tough because you can't leave them with and the certain people you just don't trust them. You can't leave them because they get into shit. They get into everything. I mean, these kids fucking get into everything. But it's the instant adulthood. It's like there's no more bullshit. Unless you're a complete jagoff, like my old man was, who just went out for a cup of coffee and came back 3 days later. And in which case that was old school. That's how they were. My dad worked. That's how it was. They worked all the time. And I try to explain that to my wife sometimes. It gets frustrating that I'm like, look, I'm not independently wealthy. I got to work. So if I can't spend all day playing, Mr. Belvedere with the kids, it's because I got to get some shit done. Or when I got to go out of town, I try to explain to them. I'm like, look, I'm not at the Spearmint Rhino snorting coke off a hooker's ass. I'm usually in somewhere trying to sell, artwork to some of these jagoffs and asking where's Tiziano because he's outside having a cigarette. So it's hard, man. I'm not gonna bullshit you. It's difficult. Unless you're MIA, it's very, very difficult. But it's the hardest, and it's the coolest thing you'll ever do. That's all I can tell you. I mean, that's how there's days when I'm telling you, man, I'm at a red light. I want to get out of the car and I want to fucking run. I'm honest to God, where I'm like sitting there going, if I call him and I call Jamie up, he'll pick me up here.
I could make it.
That son of a bitch, I know he'll pick me up. As long as I bring him some curly fries or something.
Yeah, hey, there's a
You
lot
know,
of
you really start thinking like that. That's how cornered and how, you know, you really start going, holy shit. And then there's other times you go, man, this is the greatest thing in the world. You know, but you know, and it's just those, you know, that stuff, that me time that's out the window, man. That shit you used to just pick up and go out with your friends and go to a show and scratch your ass and, you know, but that shit's done. Like today, you know, I mean, I had to watch my daughter all day, and I was trying to watch the game, and she wanted to have a Peppa Pig film festival. You know, so I had to watch one on the computer, and she watched the one on TV, and then, you know, then she decided that there was, you know, she was going to, you know, take everything out of my wife's desk and dump it on the floor. And she's walking around with an axe in her hand and a letter opener, and I'm like, look at this shit. You know?
And Sal, I think those two thoughts of wanting to run and this is the coolest thing ever sometimes intersect within 5 minutes of each other. I can be ready to run.
And then, you know, and it fucks with your relationship with your wife, you know, because everything's not all buttons and bows and hugs and kisses anymore, because the kid just wears your ass out, man. You're so tired, you don't have time to you know, everything's not all hug and munch like it used to be. Everything used to be, you know, darling, you know, you just, you know, all those panties, you walk up and everything is all fucking romantic, and you think you're walking around like it's a fucking French movie or something. Those days are over. Because, you know, anytime you try to initiate anything, somebody starts crying, or somebody throws a bottle and hits you in the head, or you smell smoke, you know, or like the neighbors call because you know your daughter stole their car or some shit like that. And it's fucked up, man. You try it the best you can, but you gotta, you know, you get a babysitter. That's all I can tell you. Get a fucking babysitter and try to do the date night shit. Because if you don't, you wind up becoming like, what do you want? You become that jagoff, you know, because you're pissed off all the time. When you get a little babysitter action going, you can go out. You can have. You know what pisses me off? When I get a babysitter and I go to a restaurant and there's fucking kids there.
Yeah,
that happened to me the other night. I mean, I'm talking 11 o'clock at night. Okay, I go to a restaurant and these kids are running around a restaurant. I go, look at this shit. I go through the bullshit and get a baby, you know, because organizing the babysitter, going through all, you know, and it's a lot of work, you know. Mm-hmm. And then I get to the restaurant, and I mean, this is like a nightclub type restaurant, and I'm like, look at this shit. There's kids running around all over the place because some jagoff couldn't get a babysitter.
I hate it when you go to a 9 o'clock movie that's rated R and someone brings their kids. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Even now, I hate it.
There's no way.
Yeah, babies. No, they bring babies to the theater now. I forget what I went to see, and I went to see Batman. Okay, so I purposely go to the late shows because I don't like the jagoffs with their kids screaming out. And I swear to God, it was like a 10:30 showing, and the lady was there with a baby crying, and everybody's looking like, really, you're gonna let the kid cry? You're gonna take it outside or take it in the lobby? And she just let the kid cry through 2/3 of the movie. And you're like, look at this shit.
Yeah, well, Matt Pants and I...
You become a little more patient, you know, because how parents do it with the planes and shit, I don't know. Because when I'm on a plane, I always get the kid kicking my seat and throwing shit at me, and I'm always like, what the fuck, man? Because my kids are I still won't take them on a plane. But eventually I'm going to have to. You know, they're nagging me about Disneyland and all the rest of this shit, so I know I'm going to have to do it eventually. You know.
Yeah, and my wife has a short fuse to begin with. With stuff,
hey,
tolerance
you know,
and stuff
man,
like that.
you know, my wife was the opposite. My wife was the sweetest, nicest, quietest, and then with the kids, man, I'm telling you, they beat it out of you. You become that you know, that fucked up pencil you find in the drawer that's got teeth marks on it and molars and broken. You use the butter knife to sharpen it. You become that fucking thing. You know?
They drain the niceness out of you.
Yeah. You get like pants at a con. You know. He comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, have you seen where we're at? Over in the corner over there." Very crowded again. So he came by me 3 times to tell me how fucked up it was, and he didn't like the popcorn I had either. What the fuck can I do? I go. Look at me. Look. Do I look like Reed? Is my last name Reed? I don't know anything about these assholes. And then they even got me next to some Puerto Rican guy.
Oh.
Who are we next to again?
Jamie was going to come, and then what happened, Jamie? You were going to come with your sister, and then you couldn't make it.
Yeah, no, it was health.
Yeah,
it was health again. kind of
'cause
got
I was like,
pneumonia.
hey, Jamie's coming to New York, you know.
Yeah, this is like the second year in a row. I feel bad. I mean, you really helped us both out, and then we just couldn't.
You gotta
use it.
get your ass to San Diego. Fuck New York.
I know.
You'd have more fun at San Diego because the weather's nicer and you could take it easy.
I have
The
offered
Mexican
to
hookers.
work. I have offered to work at your damn booth, and I would come out there and we could hang. But it's always no. We're gonna take Rob. No, we're gonna take this guy. We're gonna take that guy.
Listen, you would. It's like it's no fun to work with me. You got to understand that the guys that work with me are all jagoffs, and they. It's
That's
like
why they keep following you.
Well, they're jagoffs, but they enjoy being jagoffs. They're content to be jagoffs.
Okay.
They want everybody to know that they're jagoffs. That's the part that I love about the guys that work with me, because they don't work for me; they work with me,
Yeah.
and I'm always looking for them. Like, hey, where the fuck is? And then you just fill in the blank. Well, where it is, go. And then that's what I'm always doing. I'm always going, where the fuck is Tiziano? And I know where he is. He's outside smoking. Oh, yeah. And then he always has a story connected to it. Oh, yeah, listen, I ran into the guy, Stanley's gardener. And you know what he told me? I'm like, I don't know. I don't give a shit. You know, it's like, is he going to buy any art? He's not? Then I don't give a shit. I really don't give a fuck. Now, did you go out to Toronto this year, or were you planning on going out this year?
We couldn't make it this year. I'd love to go back up again this year because it is a fantastic con, and they do a good job up there. And hopefully we can work it out.
I agree. I think anybody who has the and it's from a. That's what I like about Jim's show in Seattle is that you get a lot of Canadians up there. Canadians love comics, especially indie comics. So every time I do Seattle, it's a shitload. I went up. I did Calgary this year, and I was shocked. I mean, my God, they love comics up there. The line was around the block. I'd heard, it's going to be small. It's a waste of time, Sal. But I had a great time in Calgary. I mean, really, it was I don't know what people were talking about. It was a great show. Crowded, big, a lot of people. They put me next to Perez. Now, there's a degenerate son of a bitch. You want to talk about a degenerate son of a bitch? There you go. Fucking Perez. My God. Anything with cosplay, with his ass hanging out?
Yeah, you're right. I know what you're talking
He's
about.
all Puerto Rican. He jumps up and goes, "Hey,
Got a picture."
Reference, that kind of bullshit. And no, but if you ever get a chance, I mean, there's nothing in Calgary. That's the problem. I mean, it's in the middle of fucking nowhere. I mean, it's like you run into the Mars rover. You go, "Hey, there's a fucking Mars rover." It's over on the corner. Did you see it? It's taking pictures because there's nothing. Nothing. When I say nothing, I mean nothing. I mean, they love it that way up there. They have like the Calgary Stampeders, and the guys walk around with cowboy hats on, and a moose walks by and goes, "Hey, hi, how are you? Got a cigarette?" And there's like the hotel, and there's this little downtown area. But man, when you go to the convention hall, holy shit! Their line in the morning, the line is like going around a block. They're just crazy about comics out there, and they did very well. They had the Walking Dead guys, and they had Stan Lee. They had all the Star Trek guys. But Tiz was telling me they're doing Vancouver again this year. I guess this is the second year for Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
Which is in the spring. Which Vancouver is a great town for comics because it's a very artsy-fartsy town. Get a lot of the broads that don't shave their bush, and incense, and pot brownies. They wear beads and shit. They wear the jean cutoffs like Jamie.
Yeah.
Yes. They paint their face and shit. That's a lot of Vancouver. They lose hockey and they riot when they lose. Are you supposed to riot when you win? How the fuck does that work in Vancouver that you're that backwards? That you go, we lost. Maybe we should break a window.
Well, they blamed it was on people from Portland that came out for the game or something like that. That were the actual rioters.
Yeah.
Yeah, Portland. That's another one of those that part of that whole demographic. Because Portland, man, oh man, you want to talk about artsy fartsy or bohemian and into comics? It's the Portland gang. It's Oregon. They've got that show. What the hell's that show called that they got up there?
Is it? I want to say
small show.
I want to say Stumptown, but I'm not sure if that's right or not.
It's pretty small, but it's grown because I know a lot of people that are into comics and the creators that live up that way. Mike Allred and a few other guys that have been telling me about the whole Portland scene for a long time when it comes to comics. Kind of like San Francisco.
Yeah, the Stumptown Comics Fest. Yeah.
Yep. It's supposed to be really good. I mean, small, but it's supposed to be pretty serious when it comes to small press.
Yep.
But I learned from Atomica, man. It's better to get the whole fucking thing done before you get out and start scratching your ass, because once you get out and you start promoting it, you lose a lot of time creatively. You lose a lot of time getting your work done. So with this book, I'm not doing shit. I'm not promoting anything for it until it's completely done. Mm-hmm. So that store owners don't swear at me and shit and call me a fucking deadbeat.
They may do that anyway.
Like you guys. Well, not to my face. When they order a book and it's late, then they can say it to your face. They go, "Hey, asshole, listen, I wanted to know when you and Jamie are going to have that music video that you guys are working on." We're going to be singing show tunes, from Tom Jones. Because I heard Jamie does a good version of What's New Pussycat. Speaking of which, where is the King Jagoff? Where is Brian? Tell the truth now. Tell the truth. He really said, "Hey, that fucking Sal's on. I don't want any part of this," didn't he?
No,
tell the truth.
He was. I think he was in town and back in town for the holidays, but he's back at his home down near Philadelphia right for the holidays right now.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't live close by anymore, right?
No.
Down closer to King of Prussia, down Philly area.
And how often is he on the show now?
Well, he'll Skype in every now and then for the previous episodes.
Yeah.
But we had him in the studio last month though for an episode. We all got together.
Oh, big deal. What a jagoff. Last one. Well, listen, what kind of fucking jagoff? He's got a show and he comes in once a month. The fuck is that? What is all of a sudden he's Johnny Carson? What is this? What the fuck? How do you got? You know what he needs? He needs a beating. That's what he needs. No, everybody, and Jamie knows this. Everybody, every now and then, no matter who the fuck they are, needs a beating. It creates clarity. You wake up and go, "Holy fuck! I thought I was some shit, and I ain't some shit." And then you wake up. That's what he needs. You need to fill a pillowcase with fucking doorknobs and beat the shit out of him. He was on last. I thought this was just tonight. He took off because he heard, there's a foreigner on. I don't want to talk to that fucking guy. He's got a vowel in his name. Oh, fuck. With Jamie's there, that's one is enough. You don't need. You get more than one Italian in the same room. They start a union and shit, and there's a problem. Right. You don't want to do that.
Either that or a crime family, one of the two.
Well, they don't sell us spray paint or switchblades anymore, so it's harder.
Yeah, true.
But that's it. He just decided, hey, fuck you.
No. He's still active when he can be. He's got a lot of going on.
Yes, he basically said,
"Are they going to call it Comic Geek Speak sometimes? Is it going to be Comic Geek occasionally? Or what the fuck? How's that going to work then? Is he changing the name or?"
No, it's still the same name.
Does he not give a shit, or is he just doing his other job?
No, he gives a shit. He's just busy.
That's because there's a lot of family stuff and other stuff. So
you guys should be pissed off. You really should.
Oh no.
We are. We just mastered.
I would be pissed off if anybody cared. You should say Sal's pissed off, but they go, "Well, fuck Sal. I don't care."
But now with him gone, I've taken over the show. It's all mine.
Oh, geez. Now what about fucking the other fucking kindred spirit, Peter?
Oh,
he decided fuck everybody.
Well,
the rest of the world.
Him and Brian are doing a show together. They live close to them.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Who's Jagoff? That's what's it called? Reach around, speak. What the fuck is that called? Two assholes in a microphone. What the fuck's that called?
A view from our knees.
Peter, I haven't seen once in a blue moon on Facebook. He'll pop in and say, "Hey, Jagoff," that's it. Or I'll say, "Hey, what's going on?" and ever. And it's good, it's good to see that he's working, doing his thing, his choreography and that stuff. Because I know the dancing. But where the fuck did I see him last? I saw him at a show, and that was the last time I'd seen him. But I think it was the time he was with you guys. He was taking pictures with you guys. Was that New York last year?
Yeah, New York last year.
Might have been.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that was the last time I'd seen him. But no, listen. It's harder. It's the same with me, man. I don't do as many shows as I used to. It's harder. These shows keep getting more and more expensive every year, and it's
and there's one every weekend.
Yeah, there's
one
shows.
every week, every month, and there's always somebody going, "Hey, you're not going to," and they'll mention. I go, "Guys, come on, man." They act like I don't do shows. I'm like, "Guys, I can't go to all those shows. It's just Charlotte, and I can't do Charlotte. I do Emerald." And then they ask about, there's tons of them. Like Toronto. Toronto's they got Fan Expo, then they got the Fan Appreciation, and now they got Vancouver, and they got Calgary. Who the fuck's got time to do all these shows? I mean, some of them are like back to back. I mean, I think Vancouver is right by C2E2 and right by Calgary. So, they got you could do like one a week that month.
Oh, sure.
It's like, well,
including our very own Super Show.
Yeah, and then there's the ones like your guys' show and, ones that you really want to do. But so I only can afford to do the ones time-wise, that because I got a family. I can't just tell my wife, hey, I'm taking 3 weeks and going and scratching my ass in Canada. Going up to Vancouver, and then I'm going down to Calgary and shoot a moose, and then I'm going out with with Jamie, and we're going to get some hot wings, and then I'm going to go out. I can't. I mean, I did the Italy Norman Rockwell thing, and I came home, and I was literally home for like 7 hours.
Yeah.
And I had to get on a fucking plane and go to Albany, and then drive from Albany to And little did I realize that the fucking drive from Albany is farther than going from fucking Chicago to Albany, for Christ's sake. And they dropped me off at this hotel that I was like, Jesus Christ, no wonder if this is where all the Stephen King shit happens out here. Because that's where it all happens, right? In Massachusetts, out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Yeah. I was like, no wonder this Jagoff's all fucked up out here. I was looking for Carrie the whole trip. The broad walking on the side of the road with the pig's blood. I didn't see it. I was like, shit. I thought that happened out here. Didn't it happen out here? I was looking for Karen Allen or one of those hot broads back then. But she was hot in 77. Now forget about it. Remember Karen Allen and Carrie?
Oh, well, I remember her from...
Actually, it was Sissy Spacek and Carrie.
No. I know that.
Oh.
The broad who played the villain.
Oh, I don't... Okay. No, I didn't remember.
The broad from RoboCop. Who was the broad from RoboCop?
That's, oh, crap.
She was married to John
Allen.
Carpenter.
Oh, yeah. Nancy Allen.
Nancy Allen.
Yeah.
That's the one I slipped
into.
Carrie, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it was Karen Allen.
Karen Allen was the one from Raiders, right?
Yep.
Right.
Oh,
Nancy Allen.
That never did it for me. That didn't cut it. Too gamey. You could tell she didn't shave, didn't wash. She's one of those dirty broads. You got to give it to her in a treehouse.
Karen or Nancy?
The one from Raiders is the one that you don't want to go. You don't want to go near that. That's rough. That's rough around the edges. That's freckles and shit. You just stay away from that. The one from Carrie's the one you got to give it to.
Yeah, I always thought she was cute.
The one who was giving it to John Travolta and Carrie.
Yep.
Although I could never understand what the fuck everybody was making a big deal about Sissy Spacek. Just run her over with the car. It's a big deal.
Oh my Lord. We have definitely run the full gamut tonight, boys and girls.
That's where it's at, guys. What else did I want to talk to you guys about? That's it, man. I'm done. I got nothing. You guys don't want to hear my bullshit anymore. How long are we? What time is it? I think I got to take my kid to school.
Well, it's been 2.5 hours.
It's next year already.
2.5 hours?
Yeah.
It's longer than my first marriage. Jesus. However long that was. No, I was never married before. Right now, people are listening to this going, did you know Sal was married before? Does his wife know that?
We bleed.
Because my wife's
gonna
a
be a
cop
headline.
right now. She's Googling my name going, that son of a bitch.
Bleeding Cool will lead off with Sal.
Yeah, right.
Second marriage.
Are you kidding? Who the fuck? Any girl I used to tell my wife, you're never going to run into broads I used to go out because they're all fucking witness protection or they just killed themselves from fucking humiliation. They didn't want to bother with me. They see me on Facebook, they go, Jesus Christ, did he gain weight? I always love when they tell me that. I'm like, yeah, have you looked at your fucking picture lately? Some of these broads I went out with, they always love to go, oh, Sal, what happened to you? What happened to me? What happened to you? They look like fucking Cloris Leachman when they send you a picture. You go, Jesus.
I didn't date Luca Brasi. What the hell is that?
Wow. You see somebody, so I got to tell you, about 20% of the girls that I knew growing up, you see pictures of them, they still look good. I'm actually like, wow, look at this one. And then there's some you go, Jesus Christ, what happened to this? Not that, and I'm not one to even, they see me and they go, oh, fuck. I used to run around with that guy back when he had a Mustang. Jesus. But hey, that was a long time ago. Yeah. It's gotten beaten out of me now. I got nothing left.
Well, Sal, it's always a pleasure, and you're always welcome on the show.
Let's see. Let's make a date now. In February, we'll get you back on the show.
Now listen. So in what 3 seasons? Is that how it works?
Yes.
The NFL playoffs next year.
This episode has to be savored by everybody.
Yes.
We put you on too often; it sort of loses it all.
And then in the meantime, I see you got like jagoffs of biblical proportion. 3-4 times. You know, like you got the guy that runs this, you got the guy that builds that, you got the guy that came out with this, the guy that and then you got him on 4 times.
Yeah.
Well, we promise we'll have you on before we have kids back
I know
on again.
I talk a lot of shit. I know I get on here and I pontificate, but I don't know. If you want to keep me to 15 minutes, go ahead.
No.
What else am I going to talk about?
2.5 hours is a good length.
I don't know. Let your listeners dictate. If they want me, for whatever, I'll do whatever. Because, like I said, everybody that has ever been involved with the show, with a couple exceptions, has always been just beyond nice to me and super cool about, hey, it's nice to hear you on the show and blah, blah, blah. So, with all my bullshit, any more than a couple of times a year even would be just too much. Nobody wants to hear my fucking ass every couple of weeks. My wife can't put up with me. So I usually, twice a year is more than enough.
So you see you for a checkup in 6 months for a checkup, right?
That's right.
Where
we are right now.
Now, and what month is this? I don't even
it's
know.
November.
Let's say maybe like before San Diego.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like right around the end of June or June-ish or right as baseball gets going, and the Cubs will be out of it already in April, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're already out of it now, mathematically. The Cubs are fucking done
Thanks
now.
for taking Theo, by the way.
The Iowa Cubs, we call them, because they keep bringing up all these. I swear to God, I didn't recognize one fucking player except Soriano, who we're stuck with. But I honestly, I don't know what the fuck this guy's doing. I want to think he's heading us down the right path, but I don't know, man.
All I have to
They're
say
so bad.
Is JD Drew, Dice K.
Well, but you guys at least you won with him. I mean, my God, come on. I mean, I understand the rebuilding process. They warned us things were good, but you don't got to lose over 100 games, do you? I mean, but on the same token, Jamie, what the fuck happened to your Phillies?
They got old and they got hurt.
The best pitching staff on fucking paper over there. What are they doing over there?
They got hurt. That was the biggest thing. They all pitched hurt.
That's an old
And
excuse. At least we say we have Bobby Valentine.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you got who's in your division? What, the Nationals?
Yep.
Yeah. Nationals, the
The
Braves.
Mets sucked. I mean, the Mets were bad. But then what happened to your Eagles?
Miami.
Your Eagles were supposed to be a lot more competitive.
Please don't
They going to
go
get
there.
rid of Reed or no? Is he staying or are they getting rid of him?
Gone.
Vic, I think, is gone too, right?
Yeah, I think he'll probably be gone too. I think they're gonna go with this new kid Foles, as long as he's shows some. I think if a new coach comes in, which he's going to, there's no way Andy Reid survives this. Bring in a new offensive coordinator who knows how to use the players he's been given, a defensive coordinator who knows how to coach defense, and comes up with some at least half decent game plans. They're going to be okay. They're not going to be. I'm not going to say they're contenders in any way, shape, or form, but they're going to be a hell of a lot more fun to watch than they are right now.
Hey, Sanchez might be looking for a spot next year.
Ooh, no.
I mean, it's like I don't know, man. That's a very unforgiving town when it comes to losing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think Andy Reid's a bad coach, but it's a young man's game, man. And they reach a certain point where someone's got to take the fall inevitably. Like the Bears, if Lovey if they don't make the playoffs this year, Lovey's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he's a good coach, he's a great guy, but he brought in Tice and these guys, and inevitably it's about winning. They don't give a shit about always a nice guy. In Philadelphia, man, you guys 3 years ago you made all those trades.
Yeah.
Right when they said it was a dream team.
That was last year.
And it was like, what the fuck happened? I mean, and you're losing against teams you can't lose to. You can't lose to the Giants, not in Philadelphia. They fucking want somebody's head. Same with Dallas.
Well, Dallas,
it's like when we lose, we get destroyed by Green Bay. I mean, and that in this town, I mean, you could fucking slap the president, nobody gives a shit. But if you lose to Green Bay, oh man,
Yeah.
And we've gotten our ass trounced by these fucking cheese eaters for the last 2 years now. I mean, I called State Farm and I fucking quit just because I can't see Aaron Rodgers on the commercials anymore.
You know what? Your discount double check.
Cancel my insurance because I am not associating myself. First of all, they don't have cars in Green Bay. How the fuck do they need insurance when they don't have cars? and then they got this fucking the other guy, the linebacker. What's his face? Clay Matthews, the guy with two heads. You know, no, he's not on steroids. Doing the other commercial. You know, he looks like fucking Cro-Magnon. And everybody's like, what are you talking about, Sal? He's not on steroids. I'm like, yeah, okay, all right. But we're stuck with Jagoff Cutler, so what difference does it make?
Hey, I stream Boston Sports Talk, and unless the Patriots go to win a Super Bowl, it's, get Brady out of there. He should be traded. I mean, they don't settle for anything less except for, some cities. It's, well, at least we made the playoffs. But
I personally think Reed is kind of going the way of his mentor, as far as like Holmgren, where he was good for a while, and then it just became the part where they weren't winning.
It's a young man's
and he left.
game, man. It really is. I mean, inevitably, they go with the young guy. I mean, you got certain guys, like, look when Pittsburgh lost Cowher. Everybody thought, oh, it's over. They brought in a new guy, and it's like they didn't miss a beat in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You got to be the guy that's willing to work 20 hours a day, man. And the old guys get to a point where it's like, no, you can't fucking do it anymore.
It's pretty much cost him his family. That's the whole thing.
He has a lot of family issues.
With Reed,
well,
it cost
look
him
at
his family.
Dungy. Same thing happened to Tony Dungy. He had family issues, the poor guy at the end of his run with the Colts. It was the same with a lot of guys. They're done, man. Like, look at Gruden and a lot of guys that everybody want them back. They're not coming back. Once they get a taste of being able to, get out, have a fucking vacation and not have to deal with the media and shit, they're gone. I mean, they're done.
Yep.
I mean, I think you guys, I'm surprised they waited this long, though, in Philadelphia. I mean, that fucking town is very unforgiving when it comes to football.
Well, they gave him, they give a lot of rope to people who win. I mean, at least, at times we haven't gotten the championship, but he took us to the pinnacle
I think he's a good coach.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a jagoff. There are some like Detroit. That guy in Detroit is a colossal jagoff. I mean, he's a jagoff. Like, look up jagoff in the encyclopedia, and it's got his fucking picture there, with that smug look, and he lets Dominic and Sue get away with all that bullshit. And Detroit is still Detroit. They're like the Cubs of the NFL. They're not going anywhere with those fucking horrible uniforms. I mean, he's a jagoff. I mean, look what Harbaugh did with the 49ers. I mean, Singletary was a great player, horrible fucking coach. Same team that Singletary had. He takes them one game away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's a young man's game. You guys, you get a young coach, you'll be right back. Vic, I think, is done.
I do too.
Not in football,
so.
but I think he's done with you guys. I don't think they're gonna.
We'll see. I don't.
Experiment is over with. Like you say, I think maybe Sanchez will come to Philadelphia.
No, thank you.
No, I think not under the spotlight of New York. I think he'd play a hell of a lot better any place else.
I don't know. I don't see any kind of confidence out of him. Whenever I watch those Jets play, it's just like
because he was never challenged
for
that spot. He was handed it.
Yeah,
all right. Well,
he went to USC, so another Mexican.
Pants wants to go home.
Well,
so.
no, I don't want to go.
I fucking Notre Dame last night. Jesus Christ. Pants, listen. You left like 2 hours ago. Who you bullshit? I hear him in the car. I hear the turn signal on in the car. He's on his way home and shit. He's in the drive-thru. Yeah, can I have extra sauce?
Yeah, well, yeah. That's my next stop before I go to work in about an hour and a half.
Does that Sunday come with bacon on top?
Oh,
yeah. Can you have it well done?
I'd like a large Arby's, please.
Yes.
I would like steak with steak.
Well, Sal, we will talk to you again in 6 months.
If not sooner.
No, if not sooner.
Because we really please really consider Super Show. We'll get in contact. I'll get in contact with you.
I forgot about that.
We'll let
through,
you know.
Emails.
Give me a heads up. Give me a heads up about it, because I mean, I'm not acting all important and shit, but shit gets away from me, and I like to plan these shows out way in advance.
Absolutely.
I will send you an email probably tomorrow just to remind you.
We'll get on that, sir.
Once I buy my ticket ahead of time, then I'm locked in.
Okay.
I buy my airline tickets, and then it's like, no, then in my mind I'm going.
Awesome.
And there'll be a table.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, right.
And a chair, a table and a chair. That's
and we promise there won't be anybody who speaks a foreign language sitting next to you.
They can speak a foreign language. They just got to be able to speak English.
Okay, gotcha.
The fucking
You
guy.
got it. Right, this has all been written down. We'll take care of you, Sal.
Well, isn't he in the corner with Buzz and Tizano?
Oh, jeez.
He's got no. He puts me next to guys that are from countries I never even heard of. Where you from? Where?
Who's Becky
Yeah, you know, like shit. Where you're like, huh? It's no fly zone. What'd you say?
All right,
right,
Sal.
my
Well,
friend.
enjoy your holidays. Say hi to your family for us.
Yeah, everybody have a good Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, you
And
too.
a good New
Best
Year's.
to
Grab
you and the
baby.
kids
Let
and the
me know
wife.
what's going on with the baby.
All right, I will.
When's your wife due with the baby?
The projected date is April 30th, but since it's my kid, I'm sure it'll be stubborn and wait till the beginning of May at some point.
Oh, well, yeah. That's a good time because at least you get some, you get your summer off.
Yeah, better
No,
than
it's true. You don't want to have the kid in the middle of summer.
No,
'cause
you
then
don't.
The whole
Yeah.
summer you're watching the kid. I mean, because the first couple of months, forget it. You're not going to get any sleep. You're going to be like fucking SEAL training those first couple of months.
Yep.
You're running around like a jagoff, like Bela Lugosi. You see your reflection in the mirror and you go, Jesus Christ. You look like Calabac. You go, what the fuck?
All right, Sal.
All right, gentlemen. Take care of yourselves.
All right, have a good night, Sal.
See ya.
Take it easy.
Keep in touch.
All right.
You got
Bye-bye.
it. Bye.
Wow. I don't know what the record is for longest interview we've done, but
What do you mean you don't know what the record is?
well, the longest episode we've done, I believe, was episode 1000. But that was like almost 3 hours and some odd minutes.
Yeah, it's because.
And of course, the cover of the Avengers JLA. But this is a marathon episode, and
Is this really an interview, or is this just
it's like
shooting the shit?
intervention. No, it's just a therapy session, is what it is.
pretty much.
Oh my God! When he talked about Buster Hyman, I thought I was going to die.
You did wet
I
yourself.
thought I was going to die.
Yeah, I thought you had an aneurysm.
Oh my God!
I don't know what was funnier, you laughing or Jamie laughing at you.
Yeah, I just couldn't stop laughing. You were just like, oh my God.
But like Sal said, when you see him at a con, if he's not in Alex Ross booth wearing a suit and tie, he's very, very approachable.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
a hell of a nice guy.
He's even approachable then.
Well, yeah,
But-
absolutely.
yeah.
But,
if he's doing his own stuff, with Atomic and all that, he'll just sit and talk your ear
Oh,
off. if you
yeah.
want to.
yeah. But he's been so good to us over the years, and
Yep,
just
and
a
we
great
love
guy,
him.
great talent, and it's just awesome to talk to him.
Yep, we love him very much.
Absolutely. Well, this marathon episode of CJ's was brought to you by the fine, fine folks at DCBS Service.
Well, they certainly got their money worth on this one.
Yes.
That's for
Go
certain.
to Discount Comic Book Service. Go to dcbservice.com for all your pre-ordering needs. If you want to leave us a voicemail, tell us how much you love or hate Sal, but you must love him, otherwise you won't play it. I kid. I kid. We love Sal. That number would be 267-702-6642. You can send us an email. We're comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. We're Comic Geek Speak. You can join the conversation at thecomicforums.com for all the episodes we talked about and all the great other topics on there, thecomicforums.com. We want to thank everybody who has donated to the show. We really appreciate it. Could not do without you. And as always, we are uniting World's Mightiest Heroes, one listener at a time.